Ow. Audio. That was that was okay. That's better for my mic to speak. Oh, sorry. I got the flu right now, so oh. Basically I built Jokic just to see how he would do in the old NBA. And audio. Let's go 20. Save. There we go. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Still on the bench right now. I literally started this morning. Uh, I fell asleep in my desk chair and would wake up, would fall asleep, wake up, fall asleep, wake up. You know, when I'm sick, not just in the head, but actually physically sick this time. So it was an experience. It took me a couple. Took me a couple. Took me a couple games.
This their first chance this season playing the Jazz. They lost both of the matchups in this interconference battle a season ago. They like to change that now.
And the season series between these two teams went exactly the opposite of what...
Right, let's go. It's better. I got drafted by Utah to Denver. I was kind of aiming for Denver, but they had mid-round.
Howard poses is his
Scratch
ability
pick.
to send
So
shots away on the defensive end. He told his players to be fearless and not think twice about taking shots, saying, "A lot of the D Howard plays is mental. He just has shooters second guessing. He might have them third guessing, guys."
And thank you, Doris. Millsap against Turkoglu. Millsap misses. At that point, you wonder if it was a fluke or if these guys, have really figured it out.
I'd be surprised to see a repeat of that outcome this time, but I've been surprised before, Kevin.
Yes, you have. Nelson, no luck.
It's been a struggle. It's not
still working on my
right
timing
now.
and my
He
with my
needs to
rebounds
settle
on this
down a
game
bit
too.
and let the offense come to him a little more. He's forcing things right now.
Here's Dimes from downtown. That's good.
All right.
Here's Nelson.
Well, a lot of storylines in Utah last season. Jerry Sloan finally stepping down as coach, and then that was followed by a blockbuster trade sending Darren Williams to New Jersey. A lot of new faces in Salt Lake.
And that one's good.
And they answer right back with that three. It's a good old shootout. The fans are enjoying this show.
Back to Harris. Dishes it to Jefferson. It's hauled in by the Magic. Howard's got 4 rebounds in this game. Back to that trade that Steve was talking about for Utah. It caught me off guard. I'm sure it caught you off guard as well.
No question about it, Kevin. I mean, nobody really saw it coming. It just seemed like it was time to start over, and they got right back to work, and now in a bit of a rebuilding mode, if you will.
Jefferson can't
I
get that
tried.
one to fall.
He thought he made that one.
He sure did. I mean, it was an excellent look. It just didn't go down.
Nelson kicks to Richardson. Now Kirilenko defending. Richardson, good. Richardson's got his first bucket of the night.
You know, in Hito's first stint with the Magic, Kevin, he was pretty good. Provided a spark. He's not the same player he was then, but still is a guy who can give you a lift.
Nice move. And the basket by Kirilenko.
Nice.
His presence in the paint gives their offense such a valuable dimension.
And now the first timeout called here for the Magic. They're coming off that win against Philadelphia.
I'm winning the battle against Dwight Howard, so I mean it's only been a couple minutes, but
Here is Miles. And Clark back to Hito for just a second. He can still initiate the offense for him, as you mentioned, and is in good enough shape, Steve, I think, to run the show for him as well.
Well, the question is, Kevin, is he too old at this point? He's been in the league for a long time.
that was a stupid pass.
The athleticism isn't quite there. I mean, he can still initiate the offense, as you said, but more in a facilitator role. I don't see him scoring like he did earlier in his career.
Taking a look at the Jazz. Dimes.
I keep forgetting my
CJ Miles is out there with
pass
Howard.
rating isn't high enough
And it's
to use
in at the center, filling out the
Mickey
middle.
Mouse passes.
Good on both.
Well, the Magic made a sweeping change last December as they were able to move Rashard Lewis and Vince Carter, bring in Hito Turkoglu, Jason Richardson, Gilbert Arenas. It's not often you
Oh,
see
I thought
a
I'd hit
team
that.
like that tinker with their roster.
It went in.
Season.
I gotta up my 3-point shooting.
Duhan with the ball. Favors picks him up. Kicks to Richardson. He dishes it to Duhan. 6 to shoot. Shoots over Miles. Duhan's shot is off. Steve, back to the Magic. They felt like they needed some changes. And Clark, that trade came, as Steve just said, last December. And it just really didn't click as you look at the body of work.
Yeah, you kind of like the idea of making a shakeup, trying to get it done, trying to get the pieces together to make a run at a championship. It's unfortunate that they just didn't have the right parts, and it sputtered more than it
There we go.
succeeded.
Good job creating an easy bucket there.
Here's Clark. Unloads from 9. And it's Miles with the rebound. Now Howard. Here's Dimes. Trying his luck deep. The shot is off.
That was a bad shot. I should not have taken that.
Here's Reddick. And it's Howard picking him up. Richardson for 3. The Magic again can't hit. They've definitely hit that groove offensively.
They sure have, guys. I mean, really aggressive. And I like that posture and mindset. Stay aggressive.
Yeah. Steve, you like groove, don't you?
I do. I love groove, Kevin, and I love the attack mode this team is in, too. I mean, they're really getting into the paint. They're getting whatever they want offensively.
No good from Clark. Jazz trail by 5. Everybody's running. Here's Dimes.
Oh, come on.
Again, can't hit it.
Now, the defense backs off a little bit because he does not shoot the ball well from the three-point line.
Up with it. Rebounded by the Jazz.
I usually do shoot well.
After the tough loss they took at the hands of Miami.
Well, almost impossible to win when you shoot the ball that poorly. You look at the numbers. It's no mystery why they lost this game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in terms of setting screens, spreading the floor, finding high-quality shots, they failed a lot in those areas. And when you do that, you're not going to make shots.
Catching up on the changes for Orlando. Dwight Howard. He's checked in for Anderson. Davis comes in for Earl Clark. And it's Richardson in for J.J. Redick.
They love to see him aggressive like that when he's on the floor, especially when the defense gives him room.
Here's Dimes. Working on Howard. Here's Dimes. And he bangs it home with one hand.
How often have we seen him, Kevin, create wide open chances for himself like that?
Davis sets a screen. Pass to Howard. Oh, and the dunk by Howard. Oh, we've got a sec. Let's check out the Spike Slam cam.
Come on now, I didn't see. Can you believe that finish? Oh, a little bit of flair and flavor at the end of it.
Oh, that'll be a fan favorite,
Yeah,
all right.
that was not your average typical dunk.
Bell dishes to Kirilenko. Favors. And he says right back at you with a big dunk of his own.
Not bad.
Well, that time he got a pretty clear run to the hoop.
It was Clark, and he took full advantage of it.
And not just with any old finish. I mean, that was a big-time dunk.
Time call here. The Magic decide to turn.
Yeah, I gotta quit shooting those three-pointers.
2K Sports. Back in a moment from the...
And welcome. The NBA
Ooh,
season is in its
trying not to
early
die.
stages, which means we're just getting all warm and
Trying
cozy.
not to die right now.
HP halftime report. The Magic are in the lead at Amway Center against the Jack. At Air Canada Center, the Raptors end up losing to the Clippers. 7 points separating the teams in this one. Andrea Bargnani.
Well, it's been a one-sided affair, so... Here is Hayward. They set the pick. Takes it up. And a slam dunk by Favors.
Clearly, he's one of the best rebounders we've got, guys, and his finishing ability,
All right.
second to none.
Well, his reputation precedes him in that regard, don't you think, Steve?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just standard stuff for him.
We've got Duhan. Harper is out there with Von Wafer. Then there's Howard. And it's Redick in at the shooting guard position. So that's the lineup on the floor for the Magic.
Boy, he's been good offensively tonight. I really like what I've seen.
He feeds it to Favors.
Come on, let me through.
And here's Hayward. Here's Dimes. The feed to Favors. 3 on the clock. And that one's good. 7 points in the game.
Remember, if I'm
Beautiful
holding
feed off
sprint,
the bounce to his teammate there. Nicely done.
Here's Duhan. And again, it's Orlando converting.
passes.
Here is Howard. A decent amount of time left as they try to find a way back into it.
Not time to panic yet, guys.
Steve?
Well, it will be soon if they don't cut into this lead quickly.
That is good.
They're shooting it quite well now. Again, function of shot selection, ball movement. Guys are in rhythm, confident, free-flowing, and they're knocking down their shot.
There's the pass to Wafer. There's the triple. Shot is off. And Utah the other way. Hayward with the ball. Here's Dimes. He's guarded by Harper. Back to Howard. 6 on the shot clock.
Go for that.
The Jazz need to get off a shot here. And the miss, not the best shot selection there. Magic leading by 9.
8% from 3. You usually shoot 50, though.
There's the dish to Wafer. Feeds to Duhan. In low to Howard. And blocked. Out of bounds. They'll keep possession. And upcoming the schedule for the Orlando
Oh,
Magic.
excuse me.
The Wizards on the road to face them after this game. And that's the third of 4 straight played at home. Orlando making some changes. Hedo Turkoglu's checked in for Von Wafer. Richardson comes in for J.J. Redick. And Jameer Nelson is subbed in for Chris Duhan. Then for the Jazz, Andre Kirilenko's checked in for Favors. Bell comes in for Gordon Hayward. And Devin Harris is subbed in for Josh Howard. It's Bell on the wing, defended by Turkoglu. Here's Dimes. Baseline J on the way, and it's Harper with the rebound.
Well-contested shot there.
And that's the key defensively. You got to make them work for it, challenge every shot.
They get it back. Howard.
Coaches are always screaming
Not a
and
mess up.
preaching that. Get to the offensive glass and try to keep the ball alive.
Well, that's just the tenacity you look for, isn't it, Steve?
And no messing around on the putback either, Kevin. Put it down hard.
Here's Dimes. Turkoglu against Kirilenko. Here's Harris. The Jazz with another miss.
Boy, I'm shocked he didn't make that one. He usually knocks that one down with ease.
It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock in game. Misses the 3.
He's normally a really big threat from long range. Struggling right now. He might need to mix his game up a little bit.
Here's Dimes. Tries again. Blocked. And the Magic recover. Here's Richardson. That misses. Would have counted had it gone
Yeah,
in.
not the
And
greatest.
as we end the third quarter, a double-digit deficit.
Tune in this.
Not my best shooting.
As the fourth quarter gets rolling here, let's check out our Sprite Spark of the Game. Presented. And so it's Orlando taking this one by a big margin. You know, Clark, every team has a bad night.
In the midst of another blowout, you were seen laughing it up on the bench at one point with one of your teammates. Can you tell us what was so funny?
Whatever, man. Someone probably said something funny, so I laughed. Don't tell me any one of you wouldn't have done the same thing, man. I don't get what's the big deal about it anyway. We always talking on the bench. It's part of the game.
Welcome, everyone, to this very special NBA presentation on Veterans Day, where we salute the men and women who protect our country. Kevin Harlan here alongside Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. So happy you've joined us today. A contest between conferences. Phillips Arena, Atlanta, where the Hawks take to their home floor. This is their first chance to take a look at the Jazz this season. Last season. Here is Miles. And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
Kevin, I was able to speak with Tyrone Corbin for a moment. He had a lot of praise to extend Joe Johnson's way, and with each compliment, it presented a concern for his defense. He knows Joe is one of the most explosive scorers in the league and can hurt you in a lot of different ways on the floor. We'll see if he can hurt them in this one, guys.
And thank you for that, Doris. And the wing jumper offline.
It's been a struggle. It's not happening right now. He needs to settle down a bit and let the offense come to him a little more. He's forcing things right now.
Here's McGrady. Favors picks him up. McGrady dishes to Heinrich. Johnson up top over Howard. Atlanta again missing.
Shooting wise, he's having a tough quarter. I mean, he just seems to have gone cold. Can't find the basket.
And the rejection by Thomas. The Hawks trailing. A tough loss coming against New York in their last game played.
Yeah, there are going to be games like that during the course of the season, so you just have to put it in the rearview mirror and move on.
You know, one of the things I would have liked to have seen, Steve, was somebody step up and try to grab some leadership responsibility. Try to shake them or pull them out of the funk, but it never happened.
Here's Dimes up and in on the layup. 1:44 left in the first quarter. Johnson left side. The tray. And it's Johnson again missing. Jazz leading by 4. Now Miles. Here's Dimes. Miles.
I can get him in.
Coach is
There.
liking Clark what he's seeing from his offense.
And shoot, why wouldn't he? I mean, guys, they're filling it up with ease, executing, getting quality shots. I mean, this is fun to watch.
Yeah, this is like a clinic out there, guys. This is exactly how you attack a defense. Move the ball, sharp cuts, really a nice pace to their offense.
Guarded by Heinrich. Miles, that's good.
Carving them up inside there, Kevin. I mean, the defense has been vulnerable in there.
Yeah, that's 3 straight field goals in the paint area. That's
They're
really
open.
good offense.
I was saying they weren't
Kicks to Johnson.
good players.
Working on Howard. Back to Thomas. 5 to shoot.
Struggled.
Looking to end the drought. A rebound
Just
by the
went through my
Jazz.
arm.
Last game matched up with the Magic. A tough loss there.
I thought they committed a lot of unnecessary fouls in that game, guys, and that got them into trouble. And in the end, that may have been the difference.
Yep, and that's really a lack of discipline there. I mean, they just weren't under control defensively during a lot of the game.
Gets it to go. Johnson's got his second bucket of the game to go.
Now, defensively, you have to question the effort, but nice play there.
High post shot. Miles, that's good. Offense, the order of the day as the first quarter comes to a close. Jazz leading by 4. Taking a look at the Jazz. Dimes in at power forward. Andre Kirilenko is out there with Bell. Then it's Enes Kanter. And it's Millsap in at the 3 slot. Here's Dimes. Fires from deep. That's good. He's got 7. Here's McGrady. His
Ooh,
last
excuse
outing,
me.
he had 8 points. He's picked up by Millsap. Layup off the pick. And so he draws the foul on the shot. A trip to the line to shoot 2.
Well, that should be a rule. No layups. Protect the paint, make them earn every point.
Yeah, I think that's just tough, hard-nosed, smash-mouth basketball. Make your opponent earn their points from the line. Don't give up any layups.
Fires from 14, rebounded by Tracy McGrady. The Hawks trail by 5.
Hold it too long.
Now T. And count the basket. He was fouled, and he's going to the line for one more.
Seems like that finger roll just comes naturally to him. Great touch.
And speaking of their season series last year, Steve, you might have had a problem telling which was the playoff team and which one wasn't.
Yeah, maybe it speaks a little bit to the strength of their respective conferences last season that they did split those games, Kevin.
Cantor's shot is off.
And the defense did just enough to throw him off that shot.
Here's Teague.
Get there.
Guarded by
We'll play this
Karolinko.
game clock.
4 on the clock. Millsap with the steal.
Great steal in the paint. Thought he might get a layup out of it, and he wound up turning it over.
But that steal led to that easy transition basket.
You know, Steve, they've got those guys reeling a little bit right now. Boy, you look at the way the Hawks finished last season, and you thought they'd slip early in the playoffs. But they came out a different team.
Teague, the pass to Collins. The Hawks need to get off a shot here. Shot is off. And Utah the other way. Back to the Hawks. They went into the postseason losing 6 in a row.
Obviously something clicked, though. They won their opener in the playoffs in Orlando. Went on to win that series. And took Chicago to 6 games as well, Kevin.
The shot no good. So the Hawks will take it the other way. 1:11 left to play here in the second quarter. McGrady dishes to Radmanovich.
I don't know how he's. I would have taken so many takes. Not even funny.
Millsap against McGrady. Dishes to Radmanovich. That's good. Great play set up by T-Man, Tracy McGrady.
Well executed possession. They controlled the shot. Nicely done.
Here's Dimes. 7 points in the game. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. And it's going to be on Tracy McGrady.
A major front court overhaul for Utah last season with Carlos Boozer leaving for Chicago as a free agent. Kerr was injured most of the year. So it was up to Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap to really come through on the front line.
Looking at who's out there now for the Jazz. Gordon Hayward's checked in for Cantor. C.J. Miles comes in for Andre Karolinko. And it's Howard in for Raja Bell. 18 feet away, the rebound by the Jazz. Millsap's got his 5th rebound in this one. They'll be off to Charlotte for a meeting with the Bobcats after this one. That will conclude a 5-game road trip for him. He had to fade back on that one, but still got it to go. Here's Henry. 17 seconds left in the first half of the game. Horford backing in. Makes it off the glass.
I fall for that every time.
Horford's got 6 here in this quarter. Now here's Howard. It's a 3-point game. From about 19, he drained the shot right at the buzzer.
Cold-blooded. I mean, that's a big-time clutch bucket.
I'll take that.
Hello and happy Veterans Day. The Pacers in Indianapolis.
And welcome back to Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful scenics of downtown Atlanta tonight with the centerpiece, Phillips Arena, home of NBA basketball. Here is Howard. So with Johnson sitting on the bench, here's the group that Larry Drew has on the floor. Marvin Williams is out there with Heinrich. Then there's Horford. Then it's Smith, and it's Pachulia in at the center. Favors. Here's Jefferson. Buries it down low. Jefferson's got his 2nd basket of the night.
Well, that's a nice job on the boards to allow them a second high-quality look.
Smith kicks to Horford. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot. They get Derek Favors.
Al Horford got a nice big extension from the Hawks, Kevin, going into last season, and I think he earned every penny of it. He had his best pro season yet.
I like that note there on Horford, Clark. He's a terrific player, deserved the money. No drastic changes either in his numbers after the big contract signed. Steve, just a steady improvement in every facet.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. The career highs in field goal percentage, free throw percentage, assists, points. I mean, he's really developed into rock-solid power forward, kind of an old-school power forward. He just does a little bit of everything down there.
Running out of time. Here's Williams. And once again off the mark by Atlanta. Utah trailing here. Favors passes to Karolinko. That is good. Karolinko's got 10 points in the game. And it's the Hawks ball. It's a one-point game. Back to Smith. And stolen by Favors. And Utah has possession. They lead by 1. Misses there.
Larry Drew was brought into Atlanta and wanted to help boost the defense, but it seemed to go the opposite direction, quite honestly. Could just be a transitioning phase, but if it isn't, that has to be worrisome going forward to the Hawks fans.
I'm on PC. This is RPES or RPCS3. It's M1.
Great matchup. I mean, these
That was
teams really
not the wave there. Not the wave.
Clark, the Hawks didn't really go the right direction on defense under Larry Drew, and Steve, that kind of surprised me.
Well, they did step it up in terms of being defensive-minded in the playoffs last year. I think that was important.
So,
right, they weren't great defensively in the regular season under Drew, but you know, sometimes it takes time for
actually you get what you do is you download
figure out exactly what a coach is looking for.
Program. You can download the firmware and install your games. ROMs. I'm not going to tell you download them off the internet, but some people do, hint hint. And there's a lot of archive style websites that help you get.
Guys, the Jazz weren't terrible on the road last season. I mean, they didn't hit the 500 mark, but I don't know if that was really the source of their problems.
Let's a floater go. Rebound by Heinrich.
Bad shot.
Right side, Williams.
So I'm playing the PS. I'm playing the PS4 version.
He's got 7. Really left alone that time. He's got 10. One thing about the Jazz on the road, Clark, they fouled so much last year, they wouldn't get the same calls as the away team.
Yeah, they fouled a lot. They were right up there near the top of the league. And when you do that on the road, when you foul and you're sending the home team to the line, that allows that team to get back defensively on every possession. That's a tough way to win. They've got to get better defensively this year.
Open look. Again, the Hawks good for 2.
Defensively, guys, they just don't seem to be giving the same kind of effort that they were in the first half of the game.
Here's Dimes. Thomas is there. Here's Dimes.
I need to quit taking these shots and start passing.
The Hawks leading by 4.
Just trying to force it. And like baskets are like farts. If you force it, it's not gonna end well.
Williams kicks to Heinrich. To the inside. Radmanovich's shot is good. He's got 12. Here is Bell. There's the screen. And no good trying to get that one. Well, it's been an exciting game. Plenty of offense as we head to the 4th quarter. Hawks up.
I'm like, excuse me.
Coming up next.
As the 4th quarter gets rolling here, let's check out our Sprite Spark of the Game. Presented.
Look that bad.
There's 48 seconds left in the fourth. Heinrich against Millsap. And here's Heinrich. He's picked up by Millsap. 6 to shoot. Millsap with the steal.
I think he baited him on that pass. Very savvy defense.
So on the floor for Utah. Dimes in at 7.
Oh, that I should have drained that.
Millsap out there with Al Jefferson. And it's Andre Kirilenko. And it's Bell in at the point guard.
See how he used the rim to protect the ball perfectly from the defender on that reverse.
Heinrich
I struggled the whole. Mercy.
And so it's the Hawks taking care of business in this one. They put on a show tonight, thoroughly controlling each end of the floor.
Hey, what more can you ask?
Thank you for joining us for this press.
The team just hasn't been getting it done on this road trip. Any comments on why you haven't been able to win any of the games to this point?
Man, it's been tough. I can tell you that for sure. None of us were happy in that locker room after the game tonight. Man, I wish I had the answers, but I don't. We just need to get back home, regroup, figure out a way to keep a horrible trip like this from happening again, basically.
Sorry. I have the flu.
Nothing goes together like the Bobcats in Charlotte, North Carolina. As we get ready for this interconference contest here at the Time Warner Cable Arena. Kevin Harlan here with you on this beautiful Saturday evening. Joining me, Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. Welcome to our 2K Sports broadcast. We're glad you tuned in. And checking out Utah's opening lineup, courtesy of State Farm. Kirilenko, Millsap, and Jefferson are the front court. Bell is out there with Devin Harris. And for the Bobcats, Spaghetti out there with Tyrus Thomas. And there's Kemba Walker. Then there's Boris Diaw. And it's Henderson in at the 2 spot. Now let's go over to Doris Burke, who was able to talk with Tyrone Corbin.
Well, I asked him what strategy they were going to use at the offensive end, and he told me that they did not want to have to rely on their perimeter game. Instead, he plans to exploit what he described as a mismatch on the interior, saying, quote, "We have the talent
There we go.
to make things very
There we
difficult on the
go,
floor
chat.
to use it." Kevin?
All right, Doris, thanks. Back to that point, Steve.
More assists than I had that entire last game.
Success for so many years, such a long time. It'll be interesting to see how they handle, maybe a downswing or maybe a couple down years here as they rebuild.
Well, you know what, Kevin? I think it's going to take a little bit for them to get back to where they've once been. The parts and pieces have to be added, and it's hard to imagine the Jazz out of the playoffs for too long, but they've got some work to do in upgrading their personnel.
Harris outside. Here's Dimes. And the rebound goes to the Bobcats. This is their first chance this season playing the Jazz.
Well, they went 0-2 against them last year, and they feel like they should have done much better. They look for an intense game tonight.
Now here is Augustine. In the loss to the Celtics the other night, definitely was not himself. Down to 5 on the shot clock. From 11 feet away. Charlotte again missing. And you're right, Clark, a poor outcome last season. Both of these clubs, suffering similar fates.
Yeah, Kev, the word for the day is not necessarily rebuilding, but they need to be gradually improving.
And I think they are.
I think so, too.
Now here is Harris, following the miss by Kemba Walker. Here's Dimes. He gathers.
What?
Bobcats trailed by 3. Clark, their offense has been great here.
What?
Yeah, I love the way they've looked. Really strong and together.
Yeah, and very aggressive, too. Keeping the defense off balance with their ball movement. I like the way they look.
Now, here's Walker. He had a 15-point outing in their last game against the Celtics in Boston.
And you're asking a lot out of your teammate to try to handle that pass. I don't like that decision at all.
Well, they really look to run immediately after that turnover. Well, that's how you cash in. You don't want to waste any time after the turnover. Go at it right away.
Here's Augustine, looking for his first bucket of the game to end the drought. Over Kirilenko, in once again off the mark by Charlotte. Jazz leading by 5.
You know, Raymond Felton was the big story with his breakout season last year, but the good news for the Bobcats was that DJ Augustine stepped into the starting role, and his numbers went up really across the board.
Now here is Millsap. 11-point game his last outing. Here's Jefferson. Buries it.
There we go.
14
Finally,
feet.
somebody scores.
Jefferson's got 5 points so far. And Steve, for DJ Augustine, a nice bounce back year after regressing somewhat in his second season.
Well, of course, the Bobcats, as Clark mentioned, kind of handed him the job after Raymond Felton left. But Augustine's a nice player. You know, he doesn't have the physical size and speed to be an elite player, but he's very skilled. He can shoot it, he can handle the ball well, and he can really initiate the offense.
Here we are in November. Let's see how things are shaking out in the West early in the season. Look at the Lakers. Long way to go still. Here is Bell. 7-point differential. On the floor for Utah, getting going here in the second quarter. Dimes, he's in at center. Devin Harris is out there with Bell. Then there's Howard, and it's Favors in at the 4. Here's Dimes. Can't hit. And Utah the other way.
That was a that should have gone in.
Yeah, foul trouble in that game.
Ooh, excuse me.
This is a team that can be a little too aggressive at times.
Yeah, I'm all for physical basketball, guys. I mean, I enjoy that, but they went over the line. I mean, it ended up being their downfall, the physicality, because it
Gotta invest in that consistency.
You threaten the defense inside and then find the open man on the outside. Good offense. Well, I think last year when the Bobcats traded Gerald Wallace, they lost a part of their soul and their identity. And it's tough to win when you lose a guy like that, but they did get a couple of draft picks.
I'm 0 for 4?
And that will help them in this rebuilding process.
Walker's shot is off.
You got to like the interior defense, guys. Really strong, protecting the rim.
Harris outside. From down low, it's rebounded by Charlotte. And Clark back to that trade. Steve was
I'm trying to force things still. I need to just chill.
The key when you saw that he was let go, you knew the Bobcats were starting to look to the future.
Yeah, starting to do an about face, and those draft picks will help them not only get more talent, but also get a little younger as well. And it's not going to be easy, it never is, but I think they're headed in the right direction.
Walker's shot is off.
You know, I get the feeling he's pressing here a bit. There's a fine line between being intense and focused and being aggressive and pressing. And right now, he's pressing and hasn't found his rhythm in this game.
Passes it to Favors. 6 to shoot. Here's Dimes. From 17 feet out. It's hauled in by Brown.
Come on.
Now Walker. Back to Brown. Now the dish to Walker. He's guarded by Howard. And it's rejected. And they're able to recover. Jazz leading by 4. Shoots from the baseline, and he connects with the jumper. 6 points for Devin Harris. And here's Charlotte. Only giving up 2 points this quarter.
Getting pulled.
Put the pieces together, losing that last matchup with Boston.
And they were not very strong defensively that night, guys. They were not as strong as they normally are. They didn't play with much energy. They didn't play very hard.
Well, they
I didn't get pulled. Okay.
and you've got to be an emotional team to play good defense, John. That helps raise your intensity. Guys are talking and engaged, and we didn't see any of that.
Tyrus Thomas is checked in for Derek Brown. Here's Henderson. He's got 6. Thomas, Millsap covering. Maggette outside. Over Kirilenko. No good from Maggette.
You know, not really a significant margin in terms of them rebounding, but enough to get the job done.
It's helping them get the lead, and if they can continue to rebound like this, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape.
14%.
Now here's Walker, guarded by Harris. Walker the pass to Thomas, and the pass to Walker. Maggette outside. Three-pointer. Again, the miss by Maggette.
Well contested shot, and they did an excellent job of not fouling the shooter.
Defense is about effort and commitment and discipline. He's a good defender because of those things.
Bobcats trail by 8. Guys, this offense very effective.
Point right at him.
And this is where you just start picking apart the defense, and now you take their confidence away. You can really take control of this game.
Harris kicks to Kirilenko. Here's Dimes. Goes up, and the layup falls. And it's a 10-point Jazz lead.
Points in the paint have been the main course, or main entree, if you will. They just keep pounding it inside.
Now they're seeing no resistance defensively in the paint area, so the defense has got to be tougher.
Here we are in November, and let's see how things are going out east in the early season. You look at the Bulls. And the first half is now in the books.
I figured.
Back in a moment from Charlotte.
Now in the lineup for the Jazz.
Welcome to HP at the half. The NBA season.
Substitution for the ball That's the end of the second quarter.
Out at the United Center, the Bulls with a win over the Kings. Didn't run into much resistance. Ran away with it. Rip Hamilton was their top scorer. And another game that wrapped up. Golden State with a loss to the Rockets in Houston. Not the performance that will make their coach happy. Monte Ellis led the team in points. And a look here at the other action around the...
Oh, I'm back from my coughing fit.
Head back to the action now. It's been a one-team show. Here's Williams. Dishes to Augustine. Stolen by Miles.
Great job defensively, getting out and forcing that turnover.
Williams out there with DJ Augustine. And there's Cunningham. Then it's White. And it's Biyombo at the 4 spot. So that's the group out there for Charlotte. Miles, that's good.
You are really living dangerously if you let him roam free in three-point land. He's a dangerous marksman from out there.
A major front court overhaul for Utah last season with Carlos Boozer leaving for Chicago as a free agent. Okur was injured most of the year. So it was up to Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap to really come through on the front line.
Jazz leading by 13. Here's Dimes. From the line. Lands off on the front of the rim and drops.
There we go.
He has 6. Back to what you said, Steve, about the Jazz. They do have a lot of guys up front that can score. Clark, you played on the front line in the NBA. You know how important that is, and you probably have an appreciation for these guys that the Jazz have up front.
No question, Kevin. I mean, Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap, and then if Okur can get healthy, he gives them a dimension with his ability to stretch the defense outside, shooting the ball. And then on the bench, they've even got some guys that can put the ball in the basket pretty well. Well, they've built a big lead here so far, and a lot of it has to do with how well they've been rebounding.
Yeah, every time they make a stop, they're securing the rebound, and that's really allowed them to get out to this lead.
Shot clock at 6. Shot is off. Now the Bobcats take it the other way.
How did I just not dunk that? I was trying to force it.
Outside Williams. Augustine with it. The feet, the white. Dunked hard with one hand.
I'm just not playing well this game.
Superb finish.
Jazz leading by 13. Here's Miles. Lays it up and banks it in. Miles has got 5 points in the quarter.
That's 4 of their last 5 buckets now coming in the paint area.
And they're in attack mode right now, barreling in there with bad man intentions.
Pass to Williams. Six on the shot clock. Now here is Augustine. Again, the Bobcats score.
Well, after a horrible half of shooting, they bounced back here in the second half and picked up their shooting percentage quite nicely.
Miles dishes to Favors. Cunningham's there. Deflects the pass. So the whistle blows on the shot. And
That works. That works.
Right there. No good on
If he hits his shots.
Kevin, it's disheartening to see them keep missing opportunities to extend the lead at the line. I mean, when you have a chance to put a team away from the line, you want to take advantage of that. You don't want to give them a chance to come back on it.
Catching up on the changes for Charlotte. Boris Diaz checked in for Biombo. Maggette comes in for Dante Cunningham. And it's Henderson for Reggie Williams. And here's Augustine. He's got 5. Feeds it to Diao. Lets it go from deep. And he beat the buzzer. But it's no good.
Alright, I'll take that.
And here
I'll take
in the
that.
third quarter, it's a double-digit ball game.
Millsap playing well. He's got 13 points, and he's had a steal in there, too.
Well, the defense has really been the key to this game, and he's setting the tone.
Jazz out in front. They lead by 14. As the fourth quarter gets rolling here, let's check out our Sprite Spark of the game. Here's Walker. And so in the
But
game
just
for the
forcing
Jazz,
things.
Dimes
My issue
in
this
the
last
center.
couple games is I'm just forcing
Al Jefferson, they make up the forwards.
Oh.
Devin Harris is out there with Bell.
my shots. I either get open shots or
Rises up and throws it down.
try and dish to.
Very few players have his explosive.
I am, man. I am.
Can he ever fly to get to that
Planning on it.
Utah calls timeout.
Like, I just gotta
Winning by 10.
quit forcing my shots.
141 left.
That's been my issue this whole last couple days. It's my favorite 2K game. Both of the 2K12s, 2K12 NBA, MLB 2K12 are my favorites. So,
He wants to make sure they stay assertive and aggressive on the offensive end, saying, I don't want to sit on this lead. Let's build on it and not give them a chance of coming back. Guys?
Harris outside. Here's Dimes. He's guarded by Diao. Jefferson's shot is off.
I like the work there, contesting that shot that looked like it was going to be easy, but they forced the miss.
You know what? He got it in close, but couldn't finish in traffic.
He had a man in the paint. He found him with a nice assist.
Here is Bell. Guys, a good chance for them to slow it down.
Yeah, I agree. Got to use some clock here.
Harris outside. Backing down. Here's Dimes. Goes up low.
gotta hit him with the post move. I mean, the post fadeaway.
Now Diao. Gets the board inside. Clark, they're this close to putting it away.
Yeah, and they don't need to do anything to reinvent the wheel here. I mean, just take time off the clock and squeeze the orange. Don't turn it over.
He feeds it to Kirilenko. Clock at 6. Harris outside. Another miss by Utah.
Almost got to put back.
Comeback probably not in the cards at this point.
Yeah, unless something dramatic and drastic occurs.
Yeah, something crazy would have to happen. I think you can pretty much put a bow on this one.
And that one's good by Henderson.
Guys, you're not going to get away with that kind of defense when he's got the ball. I mean, he's got to do better than that.
Utah calls timeout. They're up by 6. 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Here's Dimes. And so they foul intentionally.
Okay.
Sinks the first one, and that makes it a 7-point lead. Gets them both, and it's
All right. Trying to hack a shack me, but.
There's 10 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Here's Diao. And so it's
All right.
Utah with the win.
Horrible game, but I shot something like 20 some odd %. I got the dub, so not that mad.
It seemed like you took care of business tonight and the team came out with a win. Any comments?
Yeah, I played all right. I'm sure it looked okay to you guys. That's nowhere near what I'm capable of, though. The big thing was getting that W. But I know my stat line could have been a lot stronger. And that makes me want to get back in the gym right now and start taking some jump shots. You can never be too prepared, you know?
Back to the W O D. Next big thing is
We're in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the Jazz are looking to take one from an Eastern Conference opponent here at the Energy Solutions Arena. So glad you can join us for this presentation of 2K Sports and the NBA. This is Kevin Harlan. Joining me, Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg.
all right.
And the Knicks looking for a positive start here on their road trip. Well, it's a part of their schedule that sees them. And so here's New York. 6 points. Oh!
That should be absolutely illegal.
That's just a beautiful fast break.
Yes, I know.
Definitely.
I know.
Textbook all the way to the nice finish at the rim.
Here is Bell.
Major front court overhaul for Utah last season with Carlos Boozer leaving for Chicago as a free agent. Kerr was injured most of the year. So it was up to Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap to really come through on the front line.
Shoots from the baseline. He squares up and sinks it.
Nice piece of work there. Find a little space and pull the trigger.
And Doris Burke spoke with Mike D'Antoni.
Again, I'm forcing shots.
Kevin, he thinks their best asset is their explosive athletic ability, and he wants to see them use it today, saying, quote, "We've got the guys with the talent to attack the basket, and if we don't finish this game with a good amount of dunks for the highlight reel, we've done something wrong." Kevin, you should have some fun calls.
That wasn't
today.
forced at least, so.
Tell you what, he's not going to win any high jump competition, so it's a good thing he doesn't have to go too far to get to the rim.
I'm not sure he could, or any of us could slip a piece of paper under him when he takes off.
It doesn't matter much, though, Kevin, because he's such a big man. I mean, if he gets positioned, forget about it.
Back to what you said, Steve, about the Jazz. They do have a lot of guys up front that can score. Clark, you played on the front line in the NBA. You know how important that is. And you probably
Yeah, I forced it. I got set up.
No question, Kevin. I mean, Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap, and then if Mehmet Okur can get healthy, he gives them a dimension with his ability to stretch the defense outside, shooting the ball. And then on the bench, they've even got some guys that can put the ball in the basket pretty well.
Boy, fast start here. Their offense has been very impressive.
Yeah, they're making their own luck, Clark, really playing with a purpose offensively.
That dirt
Had to fade back.
fadeaway is disgusting.
.119 left in the first. Dimes is whistled for reaching in. That's his first foul of the game, and the bonus will go to the free throw line.
And the Knicks last season did not use their bench very often, kind of typical of a Mike D'Antoni team. He relies heavily on his starters, and that was the case a year ago.
Looking at who's out there now for the Jazz. Andre Kirilenko's checked in for Okur. Burks comes in for Josh Howard. Devin Harris subbed in for Raja Bell. Tyson Chandler is checked in for New York. Landry Fields comes in for Tony Douglas. The Knicks leading by 10. Straight up. A shot by Anthony, no good. Steve, back to what you were saying about that New York Knicks bench. You know, a big part of that was they were so short-handed. Remember Clark when they got that trade and trying to, bring Melo up to speed on what they were doing?
No question. I mean, it got them Melo that trade, but it also left a few players tired because they lost some of their bench depth. Could have been why they saw so many late-season injuries as players were maybe a bit worn out. You think about Jonathan Billups going down late. Interesting discussion.
Shumpert passes to Stoudemire. Can't hit. Here go the Jazz the other way. This their first look at this year's New York squad.
Well, it's the East versus the West tonight. The first of just two contests that they'll have against each other all year.
Shot and game clock separated by 5. Leans. Uses the glass to drop it in. Burks has got 6 points.
You know, it is really hard to miss shot that close to the basket.
And here is Chandler. Can't cash in from close range. And they're scoring pretty well as we conclude the first quarter. Knicks out front, up by 5.
Tune in this Wednesday night. Rajon Rondo.
I gotta slow it down and quit forcing things.
Now the second quarter getting ready to start up. Utah trailing here, so with Stoudemire sitting on the bench, here's the 5 for Mike D'Antoni right now. They've got Ronaldo Balkman, Mike Bibby out there with Tony Douglas. Then there's Jeffries, and it's Fields in at the 3. Bibby for 3. Millsap grabs the miss.
The Knicks struggled out of the gate last season, and D'Antoni started to feel his seat get a little warmer. I mean, you have to think that it cooled off a bit for this season, and he'll have a little more leeway.
The second effort. Burks dishes to Millsap. Fields with the steal. It's 2-on-1. Here's Balkman. And so he earns a trip to the line. Official saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2. It's going to go on Alec Burks.
Great awareness by fouling on that layup. Make him earn 2 points.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, send him to the line instead of giving up an easy 2.
Well, back to D'Antoni, you know, Steve, he definitely should have a little bit more breathing room this year, as Clark was just talking about.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you know, he's done a good job. The Knicks made the playoffs last year, but with Donnie Walsh out as general manager, he was the one who hired D'Antoni. So you never know. I mean, I think D'Antoni's a good coach. They've got plenty of talent. This should be a good year for the Knicks, but we'll see.
Now, here is Bibby. Defense is right there. Down to 5 on the shot clock. And again, it's the Knicks missing.
You know, as tight as this game is, you have to like their chances the way they've been rebounding.
They have a pretty good margin in that department, so they've got to continue to hit the boards hard. It'll pay off in the end.
Trying to break that ice-cold streak. Jefferson. Jefferson can't get that one to fall.
Not his best quarter. I mean, the shots just haven't fallen for him. You know, it's really weird, guys, to not see the Jazz in the postseason. They have found their way in so consistently over the last 20 years, really, guys.
You're right. Douglas kicks to Bibby. That's in, coming off an ice.
They're having a rough game when you have more
got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game.
more turnovers than you have assists.
Close, but too much upheaval, Steve, I think, on that roster. Kind of sunk this season.
Yeah, I agree. And they're in a rebuilding mode now, but you can't count the Jazz out of the playoff picture for long. Not with their history. They have been one of the strongest franchises in the NBA.
And it's Miles missing. The Knicks leading by 5. Puts up a 3. Bibby misses. And Utah has possession. Only given up 6 here in this quarter. They defeated Charlotte in their last game.
Well, their shooting percentage was phenomenal. They were on the mark all night, and that was a game they earned with their offensive execution.
And, Steve, it really did seem like there was a team-wide confidence they had at the offensive.
You gotta crash the boards.
You know, Kevin, they were a step late on their defensive rotation, and that helped them get right to the rim.
And the Knicks decide to take their first time out here.
Well, fellas, you know, Melo coming over to the Knicks is a big story around the league, really, as the Knicks like to make headlines, and they did with that move. Some, though, can criticize New York for being more concerned with being on the front page than actually winning. I'm not sure I quite agree with that, but certainly some people may have felt that way.
Looking at who's out there now for the Jazz. Derek Favors checked in for Jefferson. Karolinko comes in for Paul Millsap. And Devin Harris subbed in for C.J. Miles. Anthony backing him down. Shoots. He's good with the little jumper in close.
Gonna try and help defense there is important.
Back to what you brought up, they have always tried to be a part of big trades that are being discussed. Sometimes they work, Steve, and sometimes they don't for that team.
Yeah, but anytime you have a chance to get a superstar like Carmelo Anthony or like Amari Stoudemire, I think you go ahead and do it. And so New York is set up now for some success over the coming years, but we'll see how they go forward and what kind of
forcing it, I just dish it to
guarded by Karolinko. The jump hook. Again, the miss by Anthony.
And the defense did just enough to throw him off that shot.
Harris against Fields. Harris, right side. Fields with the steal.
Well, he's showing off his defensive instincts by making plays just like that.
More great action when we...
A duel going on out in Utah. We bring you
not even shot a three-pointer,
Oklahoma City ended up with a loss,
which I think is helping.
Well, both sides. Jazz trail by 3. Dimes in at power forward. Howard is out there with Bell. Then there's Favors. And
I went for it.
In at the center position. That's
That's not bad.
For the Jazz.
Actually really good.
Here is Douglas. 6 points for him. Stoudemire with a screen on Howard. 6 to shoot. Here's Douglas. The shot will not go. And Utah the other way. They host the Clippers after this game. That'll be the latter half of this two-game homestand. Here's Dimes. 9 points in the game so far from 11 feet away. That one off the back iron.
Come on.
He's got a nice touch on that shot normally, but good defense there clogging the lane.
Now here's Douglas, defended by Bell. And Stoudemire, the bucket on the assist by Douglas.
Just tried to take the charge, honestly.
You know, looking at Amari's numbers from last year, he had career highs in points per game, and that was even as he was being the focal point of opposing teams' defenses. Boy, that was a tremendous rebound for a pint-sized fella. That's how tough he is, not intimidated at all in the paint.
I gotta chill. I just gotta take good shots.
Backing him down. Fires for three. Walker's shot is off. You're right, Clark, going back to Amari. He took 19 shots a game, but was still able to keep Steve his field goal percentage over 50%.
Well, it's not easy to do when you're seeing so many double teams. And now that Carmelo Anthony is going to be on the Knicks full-time for a full season, I think you'll see Amari with even more room to work with on offense.
Here's Douglas. Blocked. The second chance effort. And stolen by Favors.
What a great job playing the passing lane.
Pushing it up. Takes a shot at the elbow. They get the rebound.
How am I missing? Headshots should be automatic for me.
They've led by as much as 10. Defeated by the Pacers.
I'm missing because I'm forcing it. That's what's happening.
Pretty poor effort at both ends of the floor, guys. They got abused defensively, and at the offensive end, they just didn't have the firepower to make up for it.
And I'm not sure what the reason was behind that, Steve. I mean, they didn't show a whole lot of heart on the defensive end. They didn't show any tenacity. And to me, it's inexplicable.
He'd like to start this quarter over, I'm sure.
No rhythm, Steve, at all. He just can't seem to find it.
Stoudemire, the screen. Douglas, the pass to Stoudemire. Stoudemire, right side. 4 on the shot clock. With the clock winding down, and Okur pulls it down.
Very porous defense down there by the hoop. He probably should make that one.
It's stolen by Davis.
Boy, nice job to get his hand in there and knock that ball loose without fouling.
Walker. Nice jump shot from the top of the key. And the Knicks lead by 7. And a great show through 3 quarters.
Yeah, I'm getting benched for that. Pretty sure.
Coming up.
And now our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, has a report for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, today it's the Knicks coming away with the Sprite Spark.
Oh, wow.
The Knicks leading by 15. On the court for the Knicks, we've got Mike Bibby, Anthony out there with Ronaldo Balkman, and there's Davis, and it's Stoudemire in at the center, filling out the middle.
There we go. Okay.
Here's Davis. Working on Howard. And it's rejected. And here are the Jazz now, trailing by 13. Here's Dimes, guarded by Stoudemire. Cantor, he goes up again, and he finishes on the layup.
You know, the hardest part of that play was getting to the rebound. After that, it was easy.
Davis with it. He feeds it to Bibby. Now Balk. The layup missed. 1:58 left to play in the final quarter. Harris outside. Cantor dishes to Harris. Good on the shot, and that shaves the
Okay,
lead.
all right.
They continue to barrel their way inside, and when's the defense going to adjust?
Well,
We're not gonna
same question
win this
myself.
game, I don't think.
8 points
But
out of their last 10 coming inside.
Doris Burke has an update for us. Doris?
Thank you, Kevin. I was able to listen in on what Mike D'Antoni had to say to his team. He urged them to stick with it and keep after it. He said, listen, we're right there. There's plenty of time left. If we can get some stops and find some good quality looks, we've got an opportunity to win this thing.
Anthony backing him down. Goes up, and he makes good on the layup. Anthony's got 6 here in this quarter.
He's so graceful around the rim. Sometimes you forget how strong he is.
And the Jazz call time here.
yeah, it's just a formality at this point.
In the fourth quarter of this one. 1:24 left in the game. Now here's Burks. He's guarded close. Terrific design on the pick play, and he lays it in.
Well, that makes 5 of their last 6 makes coming from inside.
Yeah, really focused on getting the ball into the paint because they're taking advantage of very porous defense down there.
Stoudemire left side. And it's Stoudemire slamming it down.
Come on.
Now let's check out the Sprite Slam Cam.
That's probably going to do it. They are just putting this team away.
Steve, I thought they caught fire just at the right time, blowing this one wide open as the clock winds down.
Harris outside. Over Davis. Harris misses.
He just can't get a good feel for his shot at this point. That's one of the reasons they're losing.
Davis kicks to Anthony. That's in there. Davis with the assist.
Dude, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Now they are coasting to the finish line.
Steve, just a matter of time right now.
Here's Harris. Lifts up and fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot. 2. Baron Davis picks one up.
Devin Harris, Kevin, was an all-star with the Nets back in 2009.
So no problem for New York as they get the win. You know, Clark, every team has a bad night, and these guys might want to watch the...
Your team couldn't get the win, but you played a pretty good individual game. Is bittersweet the right description for how you're feeling right now?
Nah, not at all. I can't be happy when we lose. Even if I score 50 or drop a triple-double or something. It really loses all the excitement if it's not part of a win. I do feel like I was playing the way I want to out there, and that's good, but it's only a small part of the picture. There's so much more going on to consider. Individual performance only gets you so far.
Okay. Play it.
It's the home of the Jazz here in Utah as 2K Sports brings you today's action live from Energy Solutions Arena. The Utah Jazz coming to this one following a loss to the New York Knicks.
It seemed like they were settling for desperation threes in that game so often.
That was me.
Here's Paul. We saw him with 29 points last game. And now to Doris Burke, who spoke with Vinny Del Negro. Doris?
Kevin, when I asked him what his team is looking to accomplish on the offensive end, he said they'll be looking to make the extra pass. He told me with the shot blockers they are facing, they'll often come to help from the weak side, and they can get a lot of easy buckets if they know when they've left their man alone inside. Let's see if their guys make the right reads.
Wonderful, Doris. Thanks for the report.
You know, that strong defense on the other side obviously has them a big concern.
Yeah, no question. And they're so good when you isolate, they're going to really close you down. So you've got to keep player movement, ball movement, try to get that defense on the move. That's the only way you're going to get good shots against this team. Well, it was a tough season a year ago for Utah. And, you know, one of their hallmarks in their history of their franchise has been their ability to dominate their home floor. That wasn't the case a year ago. They played 500 ball at Energy Solutions Arena.
Williams dishes to Foy. Back to Williams. It's
right.
What a great job playing the passing lane.
Kirilenko backing down. Harris kicks to Jefferson. Here's Dimes. Shot clock at 6. The fadeaway. The Jazz again can't hit it. He was talking about the Utah Jazz and playing up in Salt Lake City in a very loud arena. And I always thought that some players would get overwhelmed in certain arenas because of the noise and the emotion. That was one of the buildings.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, good building because the fans come out in big numbers and are ready to get behind and support that Utah Jazz team.
Harris against Paul. Harris outside. Fades and shoots. Griffin grabs the board.
Well, that's a bad miss right there. I mean, you'd like to see him be a little more assertive when he has such good position.
Boy, Devin Harris, maybe the fastest scoring guard in the league. He's a kind of a combo guy in between a point and a 2, but at 6'3", lightning speed, he can really move.
Moves back up, takes it up. No good. Some solid defense from Butler. Clippers leading by 3. It's stolen by Harris.
Is anyone going to hit a shot?
They sure have, guys. I mean, really aggressive. And I like that posture and mindset. Stay aggressive.
Yeah. Steve, you like groove, don't you?
I do. I love groove, Kevin. And I love the attack mode this team is in, too. I mean, they're really getting into the paint. They're getting whatever they want offensively.
They need this one. Jefferson's shot is off.
Well, come on.
Los Angeles now. They couldn't put the pieces together, losing that last matchup with San Antonio.
And they were not very strong defensively that night, guys. They just were not as strong as they normally are. Didn't play with much energy, didn't play very hard.
Well, they lacked emotion, too. And you've got to be an emotional team to play good defense. That helps raise your intensity. Guys are talking and engaged, and we didn't see any of that.
Griffin, a screen on Kirilenko. Off the screen. Williams' shot is good. Williams has got 6.
Ran him right off the tough pick there, and that freed him up for the
Not having the best first half.
Here's Dimes. 11 points for him in that last game against New York.
We're restarting this one. Ooh. Is it cheating? A little bit. Doesn't matter. Not really. Not like I play online. Can't.
And the players looking relaxed. Some playful discussion prior to tip-off. It's a Western Conference battle at the Energy Solutions Arena in Salt Lake City as the Jazz look to work the home court advantage. 2K Sports brings you this broadcast of the NBA. This is Kevin Harlan, and with me, Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. And the Clippers starting five. Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, they're inside. Chauncey Billups out there with Chris Paul, and it's Gomes in at the small forward position. And for the Jazz, Kirilenko, Mills. Here's Paul. 29 points for him last game against San Antonio. Williams. Now Kirilenko defending. Lock at 6. Williams gets the bucket.
Ran him right off the tough pick there, and that freed him up for the J.
Here's Harris. He's coming off a 10-point game against New York.
Well, it was a tough season a year ago for Utah. And, you know, one of their hallmarks in their history of their franchise has been their ability to dominate their home floor. That wasn't the case a year ago. They played 500 ball at Energy Solutions Arena. That's right where they wanted to go with
Almost
the ball in
hitting.
that possession.
Jordan dishes to 4. Millsap covering. Shot by Williams. Finds himself wide open and drills it. Williams has got his second bucket of the night. He was talking about the Utah Jazz and playing up in Salt Lake City in a very loud arena. And I always thought that some players would get overwhelmed in certain arenas because of the noise and the emotion. That was one of the buildings.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, good building because the fans come out in big numbers and are ready to get behind and support that Utah Jazz team.
Now let's go over to Doris Burke, who was able to talk with Tyrone Corbett.
We talked about the difficulties of facing a player like Chris Paul, and he said that what makes Paul so incredible is his court vision. He explained that there haven't been many players like Paul who can pick a defense apart with both his passing ability and his patience in the offensive sets, saying really, he can just
All right,
wait
there
you
we
out
go.
until he sees a weakness, and that's where he attacks.
Thanks again, Doris. Now here's Griffin. Just could not put it together in that loss to San Antonio. And it's Foy missing. 1:51 left to play in the first.
Boy, another year, another line for the 4th straight year.
Bad
He
shot,
averaged around
honestly.
11 or 12 points a game, and his numbers stayed pretty consistent. Andre Kirilenko.
Outside Griffin. Here's 4. No good on the triple. Going back to Kirilenko. The Jazz needed his consistency last year in a time of turnover. Clark, you played the game. Steve, obviously you played the game. Sometimes you need those stable components of your franchise on the floor to make all the changes. It seem like they're working.
Yeah, Kirilenko has been the mainstay now in Utah for many years. And never been a superstar, but always a very productive player. One of those guys who fills up the stat sheet across the board.
So for the Clippers, Ryan Gomes has checked in for Foy. And Chauncey Billups has subbed in for Mo Williams. And taken away by Paul. And they're on the break.
I don't want to talk about it. I was scratching my nose.
Billups against Millsap. There's the 3. Another shot. Here's Gomes. And again, it's the Clippers missing. They time it right. They can end this quarter with a 2-for-1.
Yeah, that's the smart move there. That's how you want to end the quarter, but make sure you get a good solid possession here.
Jefferson, a screen on Paul. Paul against Harris. 6 on the shot clock. The Jazz need to get off a shot here. And they turn over the 24-second buzzer, signaling the shot clock violation. Here we are in November. Let's see how things are shaking out in the West early in the season.
Yeah.
Here's Billups. 7-point differential. Guarded by Kirilenko. Williams for 3. Okur gets the rebound.
And they're struggling a little bit on the glass. They've got to pick up their physical play in the paint.
Yeah, it's about being tougher and more physical, just as you said, Steve. If they can do that better, they've got a chance to come back.
So with Paul on the bench, here's who's on the floor now for Vinny Del Negro. Griffin is out there with Ryan Gomes. Then there's Chauncey Billups. Then there's Mo Williams. And it's Butler in at the 3 slot.
You know, guys, I like what the Clippers have done. They have added some really good young talent to build on, and they're looking to improve upon their 9-32
Forcing
road
it.
record of last season.
Burks with it. He's against Williams. Burks can't get it to go. Clippers leading by 7. And a young team like the Clippers, Steve, what do you think are some of the keys to winning on the road?
Well, it starts with defense and rebounding because when you go on the road, you can't count on making long shots and getting transition and finding easy points. The game's going to be tougher, so you have to defend and rebound to give yourself a chance.
And that one's good. 6 points for Blake Griffin.
I tell you what, right now that mid-range jumper serving them well.
Yes, it is, guys. That's 6 of their last 10 points coming from that mid-range area.
Here's Favors. Blanketed by the D, fights to the rim for the layup.
He makes the most of his chances on the offensive glass, doesn't he?
Outside Williams. The dish to Gomes. From 11 feet away. Good. And the Clippers lead by 9.
The handle's in his face. How am I just letting him score?
And give you something like that. You know, one look at Derek Favors and you realize why he was so highly touted coming out of Georgia Tech. He's 6'10", 7'2" wingspan, great athlete. It's just a matter of refining his skills down on the block before he becomes a really good player.
Off the mark there with the 3-point shot. Clippers leading by 9. Here's Gomes. Good. Great play by Williams to set it up. He's got 6. Speaking of Derek Favors, the thing I know that Steve likes about him, and Clark, I'm going to take some words from you, I know that you love about him, in college in particular, here's a big man who makes his presence felt certainly around the rim.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he can make a jumper here and there, but by and large, he's inside getting deep position and making the other team deal with him all game long inside. And, you know, every team can use a guy like that who has that tenacity to get work done in the paint.
5 to shoot. Here's Williams.
Well, he didn't quit on the play. He defended the shot, contested it, and then got back straight to the glass.
Burks kicks to Favors. Defended by Butler. Shoots a fader, and it's good off the glass. Here is Gomes. He has 6. Outside Butler. He passes it to Billups. Back to Butler. Favors picks him up. 6 to shoot. Lets it go with a 3. And it's Butler missing. Jazz trail by 9.
And a 2-for-1 opportunity.
Yeah, they've got to hurry. Step on the gas here.
Here's Dimes. He tries for 3. It's hauled in by Butler.
What a tough quarter for him. He's got to pick it up here.
Boy, nothing at all going his way. I mean, it's hard to watch.
This may just not be my game.
Utah Jazz. That'll be just one game
That happened, you know.
from home for them. So it's both teams making substitutions here. Here is Harris, looking for his first bucket of the game. Unloads. The Jazz with another miss.
Bruh.
Well, that's a really good look, but even as good a shooter as he is, they're not all going to fall.
And the first half is now in the books.
I'll run to the bathroom during this.
They're up by 9.
And welcome, everybody. I'm Damon Bruce. Thanks so much for joining me here on the HP Halftime Report. The Los Angeles Clippers in front against Utah. They've been phenomenal offensively, scoring effortlessly. Jazz, it's been all hustle. Their bench making its presence felt, putting up big numbers coming in from the Pine. Derek Favors certainly playing well so far. He's got 4 points and has been a huge helper on the boards as well. Now let's check out other NBA action as we go around the league. Portland with a loss to the Pacers in Indianapolis. A 9-point difference in the end. The bulk of the scoring came from Raymond Felton. In one of the other games that went final today, in Philadelphia, the 76ers take the win over the Bobcats. Look to be in complete control there. No problems in that one. Their top scorer, Drew Holiday. And a look now at the rest of the action from around the NBA. Out in Dallas, the Mavericks are ahead against Sacramento. Up in front by 9 during the fourth quarter of play. And now it's time to head back to the rest of the game out in Utah. I'll see you next time at the half.
And the third quarter about ready to get underway. Here's Harris. Still looking to get on the scoreboard.
You know, it's really weird,
Alright.
guys.
I got a feeling I'm not going to get much playtime in this game. I'm having a rough go of it.
Here's Griffin. And here's Bledsoe.
Alright, Bledsoe. Okay. Name I recognize from Kentucky.
Now Bell. He feeds it to Cook. For the three. Here's Griffin. And he drops it in following the offensive rebound. Griffin's got 8. So here's Burks. 17-point game. Bell with it. Cook gets called for the reach. That's his first foul. And Clark back to the Jazz. They came close, but too much upheaval, Steve, I think, on that roster. Kind of sunk their season.
Yeah, I agree. And they're in a rebuilding mode now, but you can't count the Jazz out of the playoff picture for long. Not with their history. They have been one of the strongest franchises in the NBA. He had a really good first half, guys, but since that time, he's struggling to take care of the
I'll
ball.
take it. I'll take it.
Blake Griffin doing
It's a good
all
foul.
sorts of things. 11 rebounds and also a block shot.
How impressive was Blake Griffin? Became an all-star in just his first season actually playing with the Clippers. And not many people can ever do that in the NBA, especially these days when the players are coming in at such a young age.
The free throw drops for Griffin. And Blake Griffin, an all-star in his first season, the last rookie, Clark, to be selected as a reserve for the all-star game. Tim Duncan back in 1998.
It's pretty rare you have a player walk into the NBA and pretty much immediately claim superstar status. It was a combination, though. The weight for Blake Griffin after the injury that cost him his official rookie year, and then also doing it in L.A. And it doesn't hurt when you can become a hit on YouTube with all of those monster throwdowns.
Picked by Griffin. Warren the pass to Bledsoe. Here is Cook. He's guarded by Howard. 5 on the clock. Cook dishes to Bledsoe. And again, no good by the Clippers. Jazz trail by 17. Here's Miles. Drills the three.
All right. All right.
There a good job by him that he could find some room behind that three-point line on the break.
Here's Los Angeles now. Earlier in the game, they had a 19-point lead. They couldn't put the pieces together, losing that last matchup with San Antonio.
And their shooting percentage as a team was just awful. They started out slowly. It seemed like it just spread through the whole team. Nobody could make a shot.
And people lost confidence, too. I mean, that's what jumped out at
Dude,
me, Steve.
how did it? Okay, I know how it didn't do.
Kind of a hot potato. Nobody wanted to take the next shot.
Here's Cook. And again, it's the Clippers missing.
It's so hard to take over a coaching position from a legend, but that is exactly what Tyrone Corbin was charged with last season. I mean, he has a lot of experience from his playing days and being an assistant coach, so it'll be interesting to see how he directs the Jazz in a full season.
He kicks it to Burks. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here. Good point, Clark, on Corbin. Steve, hard to get a read on what he inherited last year.
Yeah, and I think this year will be his first real test. I mean, he'll have a training camp to work with. It'll be his team, and the Jazz have some weapons, but, you know, after missing the playoffs last year, he'll have an uphill battle.
Here's what Utah's going with right now. Paul Millsap's checked in for Howard. Karolinko comes in for C.J. Miles. And Devin Harris is subbed in for Raja Bell. Griffin a screen on Harris. Paul outside. And Burks picks him up defensively.
Sorry.
Paul left side. Over Burks. Shot denied. Jazz trail by 12. Here's Dimes.
All right, there we go.
The assist from Harris. 6 points for him.
You know, he's been ice cold up until that bucket. I mean, he needs to have some patience and just take what the defense gives him. Don't try to force anything here.
What I've been telling myself.
Now here's Billups. He's got 5. And Griffin backs in to stop the run. Pulls it from the elbow. And Paul gets it to go in. Paul's got 8 here in the quarter. About 3 seconds between shot and game clock. Here's Karolinko. Looking for his first bucket of the game. The lead now cut to single digits.
Finally.
They're finally making some inroads here by knocking down shots from the perimeter.
You know, and on defense, you start to get a little nervous now when shot making is going as well as it has for them. I mean, it's like a stampede, an avalanche. And you definitely not only hear them coming, you feel them.
Crashing the offensive glass is such a big part of this game, and it's going to pay off for them.
Well, through 3 quarters of play, down double digits.
Tune in next Thursday. The New Orleans Hornets go up against the Los Angeles Clippers, live from Staples Center. Be there.
And now let's send it to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, it's the Clippers with the spark of the game that we saw with that push they made. They got to work.
So the Clippers winning this one easily. And this one was such a lopsided victory.
Dude. Fine. This was always the worst part.
Rough game at the line for the team tonight. Obviously, you came out on the losing end, but how much did your poor free throw shooting play into that?
It was a big reason for the way the game turned out. You gotta hit your free throws, man. There's just no excuse. When you're knocking shots down from the line, it gives the team a little confidence boost. So we weren't even able to enjoy that. We'll be shooting plenty tomorrow, I'm sure of it. Coach probably won't stop until each of us has made at least 10 straight.
I mean, next. Good Lord, I forgot how stacked OKC was for a long time. Until Harden decided he wanted to leave. Like, 2 weeks.
Let it go.
The Thunder are looking to grab one for the home fans here in Oklahoma City before heading back out on the road. Well, guys, at this point, while still many things can change, the record is not on par with their performance last year. Maybe a cause for concern, but something they are well aware of.
You know, checking out Oklahoma City, they've had trouble maintaining any kind of positive momentum this season. I think that's why we see them where we do in the standings right now.
Yeah, it's been a little disjointed in terms of the path this season.
So here's Burks. averaging 10 points per contest. Now let's go to Doris Burke, who had a chance to catch up with head coach Scott Brooks.
I asked him to sum up their season to this point, and he said there's definitely room for improvement, but there are a lot of positives they can draw from. He'd just like to see a little more consistency on a night-in, night-out basis. Wouldn't we all, Kevin?
Thanks a lot, Doris. It's stolen by Harris.
3 early turnovers for him here. I mean, he just does not look sharp out there, guys.
Well, he better sharpen it up right now because he's on pace to have about a dozen turnovers when it's all said and done.
Well, a lot of storylines in Utah last season. Jerry Sloan finally stepping down as coach, and then that was followed by a blockbuster trade sending Darren Williams to New Jersey. A lot of new faces in Salt Lake.
Here's Harris. They really need more from him in that loss to the Clippers. Here's Dimes. It's hauled in by Collison. Back to that trade that Steve was talking about for Utah. It caught me off guard. I'm sure it caught you off guard as well.
No question about it, Kevin. I mean, nobody really saw it coming. It just seemed like it was time to start over, and they got right back to work, and now in a bit of a rebuilding mode, if you will.
Here's Westbrook. A shot goes down, and he gets this game back to even.
It's a pleasure to watch on the offensive end. I know I wouldn't want to guard him.
Harris outside. Favors with a screen on Westbrook. Westbrook against Harris. Here's Dimes. Shot clock at 3. Misses at the rim. 1:41 left in the first quarter. Outside Robinson. Harris is whistled.
I'm gonna restart this game. Actually. Now. I would thank you, ma'am. Been okay.
Yeah. Okay.
How's it been on your end, man?
I'm the best, I don't have to practice. Double team, I don't have to pass it. Ballin' hard in our Chevrolets. More bets than the Dallas Mavericks. Hall of Famer like Shaq and Magic. Kobe Bryant now back to back it. Shoot the 3
If I don't get in trouble for this.
When I'm at the basket. In the gym, but not the Nasdaq. D-Wade, got the flash it. Checking account, got so many O's. My name and the is Robert Parrish. When it comes to the J's, I got the classics. Jason Kids, and I got the Patricks. Number 1, now all the draft picks. Championship, got to have it. Been a starter since day 1. I'm with Kanye, I'm with Akon. I run with kings like Tyree, cause I've been the prince like Tayshaun. But I feel like LeBron everywhere I go. Cause every time I score, you know. Them haters looking at me.
Dude, I am straight up not having a good time. Not horrible. Not horrible.
When the Knicks call, you D-Rose with the free throws. I'd have made every shot. You'd have think.
Okay. There we go.
It's an all-Western Conference matchup in today's game as the Jazz coming to town for this one. So glad you can join us for this presentation of 2K Sports in the NBA. This is Kevin Harlan. Joining me, Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Taking a look at Oklahoma City. Well, guys, at this point, while still many things can change, the record is not on par with their performance last year. Maybe a cause for concern, but something
sorry.
they are well aware of.
I got the flu, so backing my brains out.
Doris Burke has an update for us. Doris?
Kevin, Scott Brooks gave me a couple of minutes to catch up with him. At this point, we know what works for us and what doesn't in terms of our scoring options. Now it comes down to our ability to execute and not let the defense dictate what we're trying to do. Guys?
Thanks for filling us in there, Doris. Thank you so much. Getting their offense sorted out is the priority here, guys.
And I agree. I mean, a good call, I think. Try to get into a rhythm early and get everybody involved, let everybody touch it, and go from there.
Yes, exactly, Clark. You got to establish a few different scoring options as soon as possible. Get everyone involved and find that pace, that groove you're looking for as a team.
You know, James Harden, a smooth offensive player. Got off to a tough start last season, but right at the start of 2011, played some great basketball.
Here's Dimes, tries a three.
Now, the defense backs off a little bit because he does not shoot the ball well from the three-point line.
Yeah, I do. I shoot decent.
Robinson against Jefferson. Jefferson against Robinson. Shot clock at 5. Durant just inside the line. And no one able to grab it as it goes out of bounds.
That works.
Here we are in November. Let's see how things are shaking out in the West early in the season. Taking a look at Oklahoma City. Right now they're in 7th in the conference, looking to build on their record. And of course the Jazz, a game and a half away.
You know, I think for Oklahoma City, they've had a tough time setting themselves apart from the pack this season.
Yeah, they
That was
sure
a
have.
good shot.
It's been one of those years where nothing really gets going. There's never kind of.
Guess I just have to have some rough games.
This club, they just kind of seem to hover around the middle all year.
Here is Harden. That doesn't go on the chance to tie.
Scott Brooks enjoyed a long career in the NBA before becoming a coach, playing point for a lot of teams over the course of 11 seasons in the league.
Robinson against Millsap. Jefferson against Ibaka. Gathers. Jefferson's shot is off. Going back to Brooks. Even won a title, Steve, with the 94 Rockets.
Yeah, he was a tough player. One of those guys who'd pick you up full court, 94 feet, defend and scrap and claw for everything. And not really surprising to me that he eventually became a coach.
Harris against Harden. Over Harris. Harden's shot is good.
Dude.
Makes it a tie ball game.
Nice piece of work there. Find a little space and pull the trigger.
And a foul on the shot. He'll go to the stripe for 2.
All right, that works.
Look, I mean, the Thunder 2 seasons ago managed to give the Lakers a run for their money in the first round, but in this last season's playoffs, they put the league on notice that their sights were and are much higher.
Kendrick Perkins, he's checked in for the Thunder. Allison comes in for Nate Robinson. But I think, Clark, around the league, the Thunder have been held up as the example of how you build a contender from the ground up. They certainly, Steve, lived up to that phrase, I thought, this past season.
Yeah, they really seem to have all the pieces that a team needs to contend for a championship. A star player and Kevin Durant, great point guard, and Russell Westbrook. They've got complementary pieces as well. And now it's just a matter of letting this team grow and move forward together.
Westbrook against Millsap. Millsap against Westbrook. Reverses, and the layup is good.
Remember, shooting is like a fart. If you gotta force it, it's not gonna be fun.
Not just an everyday finish. Put a little pizzazz on that one, guys.
Back to Harris. Puts up the baby hook. Nice D from Durant.
That was not pretty there. You got to make that one, but maybe that's not his range.
They're moving it around. Kicks it to Harden. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. It's going to go on Alec Burks.
Great awareness by fouling on that layup. Make him earn 2 points.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, send him to the line instead of giving up an easy 2.
No good on the free throw. Teams decide.
Excuse me.
Here's Dimes. 9 points last game. Bell. Passes it to Howard. Here's Jefferson. And he takes it in for the layup off a very nice feed. Jefferson's got his first 2 points. Here's Maynard. He's coming off a 10-point game against Denver.
Jefferson couldn't quite get his numbers back to the career highs he had in 09, but he came close, and I thought he turned in a really strong year.
We've got Durant. Maynard is out there with Russell Westbrook. Then it's Thabo Sefolosha. And it's Ibaka in at the 5. That's the lineup out there for the Thunder.
1.1 rebound.
Get 2. Westbrook, no.
Bruh. Just yoinking it out of my hands.
Numbers from Jefferson. 18.6 points and about 10 rebounds a game. Speed not too shabby.
Yeah, pretty good numbers for a center. I'll take that any day. And, you know, you just hope that Minnesota can parlay that production from...
that works. Good foul.
And Kevin Love and some of those young players. You hope they can parlay that into a more productive season as a team.
That one falls, so he hits both of them.
You know, 3 years in the league. And in each of those years, Russell Westbrook has played all 82 games. Oh, what a blessing to be young and healthy.
Dimes. The Jazz with another miss.
He can't buy anything right now, guys.
No bounce is going his way. I tell you, it's been tough out there for him.
Outside Westbrook. A 10-footer. Good as the jump shot falls.
I couldn't buy a jump shot to save my life.
Talking about Westbrook's streak, Steve, you know, he never missed a game at UCLA either.
Well, how valuable is that, Kevin, when you have a point guard who you can rely on to be there for you every single night? Reminds you a little bit of Andre Miller, just the way he performs for his team on a nightly basis.
Here's Dimes. Another miss by Utah.
Bruh.
Here's Maynard. He's covered by Favors. Durant for 3. That's good. And so
Alright, that's my fault somehow.
Durant's got 7 now in this quarter.
Guys, Jazz weren't terrible on the road last season. I mean, they didn't hit the 500 mark, but I don't know if that was really the source of their problem.
No luck. So Oklahoma City will take it the other way. Fresh from a win against the Nuggets.
The defense they were facing didn't put up much of a fight. I mean, they had wide open looks all game long.
Yeah, I know, and they were pretty much able to do whatever they wanted to out there.
Well, one thing about the Jazz in the road, Clark, they fouled so much last year, they wouldn't get the same calls as the away team.
Yeah, they fouled a lot. They were right up there near the top of the league. When you do that on the road, when you foul and you're sending the team to the line, that allows that team to get back defensively on every possession. That's a tough way to win. They've got to get better defensively this year.
Howard kicks to Jefferson. Here's Dimes. Inside to Favors. Working down low. Looking to end the drought. No good. So Oklahoma City will take it the other way. This is their first chance to take a look at the Jazz this season.
Yeah, and as you'd expect, I mean, they were the better team last year in their season series.
Ibaka, the pass to Durant. Over Favors. And it's Durant, that time on the assist from Ibaka. 16 points for Kevin Durant. Bell dishes to Howard. Here's Dimes. Ibaka on him. Fades and shoots. He connects.
Finally.
12 seconds left in the second quarter. Durant just inside the line. Yes, and a nice assist from Maynard. Durant's got 18 points. And through one half, it hasn't even been close. Back in a moment from up.
Sunday Hoops seems like a perfect way to start the week. Welcome to your...
Oh, we're shooting 18% as a team. I wonder we're struggling.
Golden State with a loss to the Celtics in Boston. 4 points ended up being the difference in that one. Monte...
Welcome back, everybody. Third quarter just about to get going here in what has been so far a runaway game. Here's Harris. He has 5. Okur backing him down. Here's Dimes. Pushes up. Misses in close.
What?
They built a big lead here so far, and a lot of it has to do with how well they've been rebounding.
Yeah, every time they make a stop, they're securing the rebound, and that's really allowed them to get out to this lead.
And so in the game for the Jazz, Dimes in at the 4 spot. Devin Harris and C.J. Miles at the 1 and the 2. Memo Okur is out there with Andre Kirilenko.
You know, fellas, this Oklahoma City team is built the right way. I mean, it's been done with patience through the draft. I mean, you've got to have some good fortune there when you're talking about the draft. The money's been spent wisely, and now I think they're starting to approach the finished product, a team capable of winning NBA titles for years to come. Certainly they'll be contending for them, you would think.
Sure. And a new group in here for the Thunder. Ozzie Muhammad's checked in for Perkins. Allison comes in for Serge Ibaka. Lazar Hayward's checked in for Kevin Durant. And Thabo Sefolosha subbed in for James Harden. And for the Thunder, they've been a team that has preached defense first. And with the addition of Kendrick Perkins, that certainly adds now to a big, athletic, and physical, tough team up front, and really from top to bottom.
Yeah, and they've got a nice bench, too, Kevin. There's not a whole lot lacking on this roster. But what they have to do is improve from within.
The whole team can't buy a shot right now.
They were exposed in the playoffs. They didn't get great shots. They didn't look fluid offensively. Those are areas that they can improve upon.
And it's Westbrook missing. And Utah has possession. Last game matched up with the Clippers. A tough loss there.
Yeah, and I thought they lost, Kevin, because of their effort at the free throw line. They got to the line, but they didn't convert. And you have to get those easy points.
Yeah, you need them, because what happens is you miss free throws and then you put your chin in your chest. You got your head down and your confidence wanes, and it can sometimes lead to poor play in other areas.
Eric Maynard, he's checked in for Russell Westbrook. Then for the Jazz, Millsap comes in for Memo Okur. And it's Burks in for Andre Kirilenko.
Boy, another year, another line for the 4th straight year. He averaged around 11 or 12 points a game, and his numbers stayed pretty consistent. Andre Kirilenko.
And the basket by Muhammad. Here's Harris. He has 5. Now Miles. And Millsap backed it in. The leaner inside. It's rebounded by Oklahoma City. Sefolosha's got 3 rebounds so far in the game. Clark back to Kirilenko. The Jazz needed his consistency last year in a time of turnover. Clark, you played the game. Steve, obviously you played the game. Sometimes you need those
He's getting steamrolled.
components of your franchise on the floor to make all the changes seem like they're working.
Yeah, Kirilenko has been the mainstay now in Utah for many years, and never been a superstar, but always a very productive player. One of those guys who fills up the stat sheet across the board.
Millsap kicks to Harris. He kicks it to Miles. And good coming on the assist from Devin Harris.
That works.
Harris has got 3 assists tonight. And And the Thunder with possession. After this one, they're off to San Antonio to take on the
Playing like trash.
Here is Cook. Westbrook with it.
Well, one of the things I think the NBA has been very progressive with is the use of instant replay. And they've expanded its use the last couple of seasons. And I think it's a good thing, as long as it doesn't slow the game down too much.
So with Durant sitting on the bench, this is who Scott Brooks has out there. Westbrook and Harden in the backcourt. Ibaka at power forward with Perkins at center. And it's Cook in at the 3, the small forward. You talk about the increasing use of instant replay, over 10 different triggers for it. Most at the end of quarters or in the last 2 minutes of regulation.
Yeah, you know, I don't think players mind waiting a minute or two. I mean, the officials do a good job of getting to the right result. And when it comes down to those big calls, the most important thing, Kevin, is getting the call right. And more times than not, that's exactly what happened.
Harden can't hit.
Not the best shot. Long range and with a defender right in his space.
And defensively, that's the kind of work he's known for. I mean, he loves to lock you up.
Finally.
Well, you know what? He finally didn't force one there, Kevin. I mean, I'd like to see him get a few more looks like that.
Now here's Westbrook. Ibaka, the pass to Cook. And they come right back with their own three-pointer. And the Thunder lead by 19. And here's Burks. Here's Dimes. He feeds it to Okur. Now here's Burks. Defense is right there. That's good. Burks has got 10 points in just the second half. Here is Harden. He passes to Westbrook. Right side Westbrook. Back to Harden. The feet to Ibaka. Down to 5 on the shot clock. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contest.
At least it's not a...
And, you know, one of the reasons Oklahoma City traded for Kendrick Perkins last season was it allowed them to slide Serge Ibaka to the starting power forward role. And he's ready. A long, athletic defender at 6'10". He's a really good player.
Catching up on the changes for Oklahoma City. Ozzie Muhammad's checked in for Perkins. Azar Hayward comes in for James Harden. And it's Maynard in for Russell Westbrook. Speaking of Serge Ibaka, he picked up the game late in life, and he's still developing his awareness, certainly on offense.
Yeah, I think you'd have to call him a raw prospect offensively. And that being said, Kevin, he's got pretty good form on that jump shot, and it does go in. So he's got a nice foundation to build on.
Boy, he just does so many things well out there.
A true pro, a professional display he's put on here.
Cook kicks to Maynard. Now the dish to Hayward. Ibaka backs down. Here's Muhammad. And the pass to Cook. A three-pointer off the mark. Jazz trail by 17. Now Burks. Maynard is 10.
Yeah. That was a struggle best game. I usually have 2 or 3 of those in a row.
Hey, what more can you ask?
That'll do it for now. For Doris Burke, Steve Kerr, and Clark Kellogg, and the rest of the 2K Sports crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for joining us.
You guys put on a shooting clinic tonight, so it must be a bit of a shock to not be sitting here talking about your big win. What kept your team from getting the W out there?
The other team did. We played well, they played better. Sometimes you feel like you do everything you can and there's still someone out there better than you. And that was the case here. Good game for us, but great game for them. So they got the win. And we're the ones sitting here shaking our heads and wondering why.
Oh, excuse me.
We're in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the Jazz are looking to take one from an Eastern Conference opponent here at the Energy Solutions Arena. Hello again, everybody. It's Monday Night Basketball. Kevin Harlan, Clark Kellogg, and Steve Kerr here, bringing you the NBA on 2K Sports. Take a look at the Bulls.
Oh, excuse me.
Guys, with a lot of home games coming up, this is where you want to boost that record by making sure you win every game you can.
You know, for the Bulls, they've gotten themselves into exactly the position they wanted to.
Here is Watson. He kicks to Butler. Makes it off the glass. Butler's got his first 2 points of the night.
You don't need much range to hit from that distance, Kevin. I'll tell you one thing, it's really hard to go from winning no playoff series in 1 year to a championship. That is a big jump. Only 2 teams have done it in the modern era. That's what the Bulls were up against last season.
Utah on D, leading by 5. They come into this one following a loss to the Thunder.
All right.
What really hurt them in that game was their defense. They were very, very lackadaisical at that end of the court.
Well, I would agree with that. I'd give you that. I mean, they didn't play with the kind of energy and emotion they needed, but I wonder about the defensive scheme. I mean, in general, the coaching staff did very little to adjust to what the other team was doing.
Touching back on the Bulls, they had no easy opponents in their playoff run either.
Well, they were ultimately done in by the Heat.
How's that not a foul?
Were awfully tough too. So a great learning experience for a young Chicago team.
All right, let's go over to the sideline with Doris Burke.
I caught up with Coach Tyrone Corbin. As they got ready to face the Bulls for the first time this season, he talked about last year when Chicago had one of the toughest defenses in the entire NBA. He didn't anticipate that anything had changed over the offseason and said defensively, they have to match the Bulls' effort. He said, listen, we want to make things just as hard on them as they make it on us. Guys?
And thank you, Doris.
Thibodeau really connected with the players on the Bulls roster early on. I mean, Derrick Rose attributed the huge jump in his game and what he made defensively to the coaching of Tom Thibodeau.
Now here is Harris. He's guarded closely. Bulls trail by 3. It's Rip Hamilton on the way, guarded by Kirilenko. Well, Clark, and it just wasn't Rose, as you mentioned. I mean, the whole team bought into his coaching philosophy. And, Steve, you've always said, Clark has too, that when the best player follows, everybody else will follow that best player.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Okay.
When Derrick Rose
Okay, I'm not even mad. Not even mad.
Coach is selling. It's easy for everybody else to jump on board, and when that happens, you really gain a lot of momentum as an organization.
And here's Burks. 14 points from him the last game against Oklahoma City. Here's Dimes. Another miss by Utah. And here are the Bulls now. They trail by 1. They come into this having outplayed the Clippers last game.
Well, you're not going to shoot as well as they did in that one and lose too many games. They were on fire.
Yeah, they were. Lights out is how they shot.
Covered by Hamilton. Goes up, lays it up, and despite
There we
the
go.
excellent defense at that.
Just another one of his many post moves down low.
Now here's Lucas.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back in the swing of things.
Hamilton outside. Just 5 to shoot. Boozer. There's the block. We've got 28 seconds left here in the first quarter. Kirilenko kicks to Harris, and they keep possession. Bulls trail by 3. Fast break. Here we go. Here's Brewer. He dishes it to Boozer. Now here is Hamilton. He's guarded closely. And it's Boozer again missing.
You can see how much the defense respects him. I mean, they were all over him on that look. Boy, that was a nice little finger roll to finish the play. Splendid.
Jazz leading by 6. So with Boozer on the bench, here's the 5 for Tom Thibodeau right now. Watson out there with Richard Hamilton. Then there's Noah. Then it's Dang, and it's Butler in at the 4-man position.
A major front court overhaul for Utah last season with Carlos Boozer leaving for Chicago as a free agent. Okur was injured most of the year. So it was up to Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap to really come through on the front line.
Back to what you said, Steve, about the Jazz. They do have a lot of guys up front that can score. Clark, you played on a front line in the NBA. You know how important that is, and you probably have an appreciation for these guys that the Jazz have up front.
No question, Kevin. I mean, Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap, and then if Mehmet Okur can get healthy, he gives them a dimension with his ability to stretch the defense outside, shooting the ball. And then on the bench, they've even got some guys that can put the ball in the basket pretty well.
Sheik is checked in for Noah. Here's Dang. Trains it from beyond the arc. Dang's got 4 points in the quarter.
Nice.
He can be dangerous from out there. As a matter of fact, he can be lethal. His first from the arc after having none in the first quarter. Keep an eye on him.
Fades. The shot's good from Cantor. Cantor's got his.
I don't get how that's not an assist, but I will.
Guys has all the physical tools to be a dominant player going forward in the NBA. He's so strong on the block and very skilled. He can face up and make a jump shot, and he can score around the basket with either hand.
Outside Butler. The Bulls need to get a shot off here. Utah with the rebound. We talked about Cantor using both hands on the block. That really is an invaluable asset.
Yeah, you've got. And I like the fact that you can go both ways, and it just makes you more difficult to defend. Anything that adds to your ability to confound defenders, especially in the low post, is an asset.
Nice piece of work there. Find a little space and pull the trigger.
Now Watson feeds it to Butler. Goes up on the wing, and he put too much on that one.
I'll tell you, the D was really lax there. I mean, they know he really struggles from that range.
And Bell kicks to Howard. Butler covering.
Well, he rotated defensively, but probably just a little bit too late, and good call. He didn't quite get to the spot.
That's always a bang-bang call for the officials. He got that one right.
How about the Bulls' improvement a year ago, guys? They won 62 games, up from 41 in the previous year. Once again, Chicago has become a dominant team.
For the Jazz, Paul Millsap's checked in for Cantor. Burks comes in for C.J. Miles. And Devin Harris is subbed in for Raja Bell. The Bulls also changing it up. Joakim Noah, he's checked in for a Sheik. Gibson comes in for Butler. And Lucas subbed in for C.J. Watson. And again, Chicago, no good. And dominant is the right word, as you mentioned, with the Bulls. They just ran away with the regular season.
Kevin, it's been a while since the Bulls had the best record in the NBA, but the way they came together, it wasn't really shocking. They were good defensively, and they had chemistry and cohesiveness offensively.
Noah the screen. Hamilton outside. To stop the run. That's good from Dang on the assist from Richard Hamilton. 6 points for Luol Deng.
Looks like he's finding his touch now because the shots are starting to fall.
Tipped away. Leaps for it. Out of bounds. And they'll keep possession.
Okay, not a turnover at least.
Here we are in November, and let's see how things are going out east in the early season. Taking a look at Miami. Right now, they're off to a fast start. First place in the conference. And, of course, there's the Bulls, a half game back.
You know, for the Bulls, they've done it again this season. Established themselves as one of the league's elite teams.
And, you know, that's really the mark of a great franchise, Clark, when you can do it over and over again, particularly when the expectations are high, because the pressure's on, and all you can do is continue to work and compete and try to perform at the same level you've been at, and that's exactly what this team's doing.
Takes it up, and 2 free throws coming up as he misses
All right,
that
I'll
one.
take it.
Drawing the whistle on a lot of contact there. Rip Hamilton picks that one up.
It's good defense. Don't let a guy get a lay-in, foul hard, and send him to the free throw line.
Yeah, I like that billboard there, sending a message. You can't come in here and get anything free in our paint.
Here's Rose. Shot is off. And that does it for the first half of play.
Millsap playing well. He has 9 points.
And they played a great
Ooh.
out at Time Warner Cable Arena. It was the Bob.
Managed to give it the lead somehow. No. Okay.
Here is Miles. Here's Dimes. The rebound by Gibson.
Well, they wanted to come out of this half a little better than this. Only 25% shooting so far.
Dimes, he's in at center. Paul Millsap out there with Al Jefferson. And it's Andre Kirilenko. And it's Miles in at the 1 spot. That's the 5 on the floor for the Jazz. Here's Dimes. The 3. That drops. He's got 11.
A disappointing season for Utah a season ago, but they did accumulate some pretty strong players inside with Al Jefferson, Paul Millsap, and of course the trade that brought Derek Favors as well.
Here's Korver for 3. Kept alive. Noah got him with the pump fake. Savvy move right there.
Crashing the offensive glass is such a big part of this game, and it's going to pay off for them.
Unload from 9. Rebound by the Bulls. Gibson's got 3 rebounds now in this one. Let's get back to the Jazz for just a moment. They know where their strength lies, and they're going to try to work it in.
Yeah, without question. I mean, the strength, Kevin, is in the paint area. I mean, that's where they want to pound the ball, and that's where they feel like they have an advantage. This roster very much fits with the physical history and makeup of this Utah Jazz franchise.
Brewer with the steal.
You can't get too loose with the ball down on the low post. Too easy to steal it.
Noah in the post. Defended by Jefferson. Here's Boozer. And the Bulls tack on 2 more.
Why is it switching my man there?
Well, I like what the Bulls have done the last couple of years. They've really put a nice team together. Carlos Boozer, a great scorer and rebounder down on the block, but he has helped defensively with his teammates, and they really seem to work well together on that front line.
And Noah backs down. Gibson with it. 6 to shoot. Now the feed to Boozer. Fades back. The shot is off. Here go the Jazz the other way. Their biggest lead of the game was 9. Boozer, Steve, you know, surrounded by a cadre of long shot blocking bigs. And Clark, that can focus now him on providing muscle.
Yeah, exactly. It gives him a chance to do his job and to play the role carved out for him. And, you know, right now, scoring and rebounding, that's where he makes his way. You pair him with defenders and shot blockers, that's a pretty strong combination, Kevin.
It is, you're right. Utah leading. This is their first chance to take a look at the Bulls this season.
Well, it's the East versus the West tonight. The first of just two contests that they'll have against each other all year.
Here is Korver, right now averaging 7 points a game. Jefferson against Boozer. A fader. Another miss by Boozer. Steve mentioned that they'll only face each other twice, Clark. What impact does that have on this game?
Well, first, Kevin, I think it means that we'll probably see our share of in-game adjustments. I mean, since they won't have a very good feel for each other coming into the game, they'll have to be flexible on the fly.
I think their only hope now, Clark, is to slow them down with a double team.
Well, they got to stop the bleeding, put the tourniquet on, and she's been tough to play straight up.
Korver kicks to Boozer.
Yeah, I'm liking this.
Here is Korver. Over Miles. No good trying to beat the buzzer. And as we end the third quarter, a great game. Both teams playing well. It's more NBA. Now, while we've got a moment, we're going to send it over to Doris Burke for our Spark of the Game, presented by Sprite. Doris?
And Kevin, for the Jazz, the game's Sprite Spark has to be the play they've received off the bench from their center. He's had a huge impact off the...
Here's Harris. Taking a look at the Bulls. Rose and Dang on the floor. Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah, they're inside. That's Hamilton in at the two-guard spot. Here's Dimes and blocked. Bulls trail by 4. Outside Rose. He passes to Boozer. Fades away. Rebounded by the Jazz.
Been a rough shooting night for him, but I don't mind that shot. He had a good look at it.
Here's Dimes. And not sure what he was thinking there.
I'm feeling a little too much.
Them with a lot of good ball movement.
Well, you like the smooth operating they're showing you here. I mean, things are clicking, and more importantly, it makes them tough to defend.
Yeah, there's no agenda. I mean, the ball's just moving to whoever is open, and as a result, they've kind of developed a clicking pace to their game. It's been fun to watch.
On the clock. Here's Noah. And the Bulls with another miss. Jazz leading by 4. Here's Jefferson. Jams it straight down.
It's a tough pass.
All right.
Right into the heart of the defense.
Clark, their offense has been great here.
Yeah, I love the way
More
they're
buckets.
really strong
Winner.
together.
Yeah, very aggressive, too. Keeping the defense off balance with their ball movement. I like the way they look.
Tipped. It's stolen by Jefferson.
Tried to thread the needle there. Wasn't there.
Good game for Harris. He's got 10 points now and 3 great steals.
Well, he's dominated this game. Not only has he gotten to the free throw line with his aggressiveness, but he's gotten open shots for his teammates as well.
Well, those are the 2 most fundamental areas of the game, guys.
Dimes is whistled for the loose ball foul.
Oh.
That is his first foul of the game.
Well, it's an over-the-back foul, but it's one that you can live with. He's trying to be aggressive, and I like that.
Yeah, you know, I used to do that as a player myself, Steve, but you got to be smart about going over the top. I don't think he had a chance to get that rebound anyway.
Here's Noah. And again, no good by Chicago.
Very porous defense down there by the hoop. He probably should make that one.
Harris up top. He's covered by Rose. Here's Dimes, covered by Noah. Here's Dimes. A couple of bounces, and it falls.
All right.
19 points in the game. Time called here. The Bulls decide to talk it over. They're down by 9. And so
You pulled me. No.
by with a win.
For the game, at least. Ooh. That was a fun one.
That might have been your best game as a pro. You had your best scoring output ever, so clearly something was clicking. Did this just happen to be a
This
good
dude's
game,
not a
or is
voice
this the
actor.
type of level we're going to see you playing at from here on out?
None of the above, man. We just scratching the surface with me. By this time next season, you'll see me play a game like this and think something was wrong. If this is my ceiling right now, I fully expect it to be my floor before too long. It's only a matter of time.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. My career high rebounds. Gotta be kidding.
Everyone is in their seats here in Sacramento as the Kings look to grab a win here in the capital of California. The Utah Jazz come into this one after the win against Chicago. And just a 2-point win there. They had to fight tooth and nail for it.
They were good in a lot of areas in that game, but what allowed them to run away with it was the offensive work. I mean, they were really impressive at that end.
Steve, they had a pretty easy time of it on the offensive end of the floor. There's no denying that.
And checking out Utah's opening lineup, Kirilenko, Millsap, and Jefferson are the front court. Alec Burks is out there with Devin Harris. And for Sacramento, Hickson is up.
I'm Boogie.
Here's Evans. He's coming off a 16-point game against New York. Up top, Cousins. Harris against Evans. It's stolen by Bell.
Well, he's showing off his defensive instincts by making plays just like that.
Doris Burke has some information for us. Doris?
Well, I had a chance to speak with head coach Tyrone Corbin. Ball movement is going to be a big part of their offensive game plan tonight, with the reason being limiting their shot blockers. He said if we go straight up on them, they'll turn us away every chance. If we get their bigs moving and playing catch-up, we can get good looks that won't be blocked. That's our goal. Guys?
All right, Doris, thank you. Taking on a defense like that one they're facing today, Clark has certainly got their attention.
Yeah, you know what, Kevin? I think they're going about it the right way. I mean, they need to dictate what they do offensively instead of taking what's available. Take what you want.
Steve?
Well, that's the only way to go. I mean, this is a game about aggressiveness. And if they're not aggressive, that defense is going to swallow them up.
Here's Harris.
Okay.
He's coming off a 13-point game against Chicago.
And the strength of Tyreke Evans' game is really his ability to penetrate. And he's got a great handle on the ball.
That does not sound right.
A lot of size and strength. And he finds a way to get right to the rim, almost at will.
Fires from 14. Here's Millsap. And so he draws the foul on the shot. A trip to the line to shoot two.
Yeah, don't give up anything for free. I like that. Send him to the line.
Yeah, they don't want to sit back and watch you lay it in. I mean, make them earn it. Make them earn it. Don't give up anything easy.
Francisco Garcia. He's checked in for Chuck Hayes. And he can't hit the second.
And Steve, you know, going back to Tyreke Evans, he's a terrific driver, but he does favor his right hand, and we saw teams really play him to that side. So he's got to continue to work on being good at going left as well.
Shot clock at 6. Thornton. There's the triple. Yes, and a nice assist from Evans. Thornton's got his first 3 points of the game. And here's is Kirilenko. Guarded now by DeMarcus Cousins. Trying his luck deep. Offensive rebound.
I could hit that.
Takes the three. The Jazz.
And again, thought I could hit that.
Well, you look at this Kings squad, and the strength of the team is really their rebounding. In fact, last year, they were in the top 5 in the NBA in both total rebounds and rebounding differential.
Millsap with the steal. Utah trailing here. Pulls up and blocked. Here comes Thornton. Last game we saw him score 13. It's tipped and stolen by Howard. And here's Utah. Trailing by 2. Evans gets a hand up.
Okay.
Thornton with it. Averaging 23 points per contest. For the 3. Josh Howard grabs the board. Going back to Sacramento's rebounding, Clark, that Steve was just talking about. The Kings have solid size up front, and all of them, it seems, know how to use it.
Yeah, and Kevin, I see that being the strength of this team going forward. I mean, they've got a very good rebounding roster across the board.
And making a change here, the Jazz. Bell's checked in, and so he's able to get 1 of 2.
You know, I think a lot of pressure was on J.J. Hickson, the young forward for the Kings, after the departure of LeBron James, and he had mixed results. This guy has tremendous potential going forward.
Dimes, a little long with the shot, but it drops.
Okay.
5 points in the game. Backing down his Cousins. Moving it around nicely. Lets it go with the 3. Hickson kicks to Thornton.
Boy, the defense read that one beautifully.
Here's Bell. Basket is good. The assist from Harris. In a high-scoring first quarter. Both teams really filling it up. Jazz lead by 1.
It was a pretty solid first quarter for this club. They limited their mistakes and really took advantage offensively.
You know what? I like what I've seen from them on the other end, forcing a few giveaways. That's excellent pressure and good activity with the hands.
Don't go away.
The NBA season continues to take.
And we got a close game here as we get back to the second quarter. Here's Thornton. Going back to J.J. Hickson, Clark, he and Coach Byron Scott butted heads periodically over the course of the season. Really leaning on him to make a difference, Steve, at both ends of the floor.
Well, as a young player, J.J. at times struggled on the glass, maybe lost attention defensively at times, and really trying to lay the groundwork at an early age to make sure J.J. Hickson knew and understood what makes a great low-post player.
Taking a look at the Jazz, Dimes in at the 4 spot. Alec Burks is out there with C.J. Miles. Then there's Favors, and it's O'Cool in at the 5. Burks kicks to Favors. Just 5 on the clock. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Guys, the Jazz weren't terrible on the road last season. I mean, they didn't hit the 500 mark, but I don't know if that was really the source of their problem.
Well, one thing about the Jazz on the road, Clark, they fouled so much last year. They wouldn't get the same calls as the away team.
Yeah, they fouled a lot. They were right up there near the top of the league. And when you do that on the road, when you foul and you're sending the home team to the line, that allows that team to get back defensively on every possession. That's a tough way to win. They've got to get better defensively this year.
Now Burks, averaging 9 points per contest. They get it again. Tries again, and that one's good by Favors. And the Jazz lead by 8.
Boy, what a significant turnaround here in the second quarter after only making 40% from the field in the first.
Here is Outlaw. Thompson, a screen on Favors. Outlaw. Off the pick. Thompson misses.
Well, with good defense down low, that's a shot he's not going to convert very often.
Now here's Burks. And he uses the glass on the layup. And it's a 10-point Jazz lead.
They can't seem to stop anybody inside.
They got to know that if they don't make life tougher in the paint, the opponent is just going to keep going there. I mean, it's not like they'll get tired of all these in-close opportunities.
Outlaw with the bucket.
They love to see him aggressive like that when he's on the floor, especially when the defense gives him room. Well, after that great rookie year a couple seasons ago, Marcus Thornton struggled a bit as a sophomore with the Hornets. He was then traded to Sacramento at the deadline and really exploded, scoring a lot of points in the last couple months of the year.
Some changes for Sacramento. DeMarcus Cousins, he's checked in for Hayes. Hickson comes in for Jason Thompson. And it's Garcia in for Travis Outlaw. The Jazz also changing it up. Paul Millsap's checked in for Okur. Karolinko comes in for Derek Favors. And Evan Harris is subbed in for C.J. Miles. Here's Burks. Takes it into the teeth of the D and converts the layup. Burks has got his third basket of the night. Back to Thornton, you have to like his outlook as he was able to fill it up after the trade.
Well, he erupted for 42 points in the game and had multiple 30-plus point games. So not too many guys in the league can do that, Kevin.
Jazz leading by 9. Here's Karolinko. Second chance effort. He takes it up and lays it in.
Oh, excuse me.
For him.
I can imagine they're going to hear an earful about this next stop. I mean, that's 3 straight field goals given up right in the middle of the lane. Inexcusable.
Well, defense starts at the rim. I mean, you want teams shooting the ball from the outside, and that's not happening. They're just giving up everything inside.
Here's Dimes. He's guarded by Cousins. And stolen by Cousins. Here's Salmons. Can't hit.
Okay, he hit the... I didn't even think he hit the rim there.
Live from Power Balance Pavilion, you're watching 2K Sports.
Hope you're having a great evening. It's time now for HP at the half. Utah with the lead against Sacramento. They've been... The Lakers grab the win against the Thunder.
Well, it's been a one-sided affair so far through the first 2 quarters, but there's plenty of time to mount a comeback. Here's Dimes. 11-point game. The feed to Burks. Fredette picks him up. Burks' shot is good.
All right.
Burks has got 8 points.
Probably time to bring an extra defender, change up the defense a little bit.
Well, Steve, he's been so good. I think they got to take the ball out of his hands right now.
Travis Outlaw up there with Green. Then it's Salmons. Then it's Jimmer, Fredette. And it's Evans in at the 2 spot. So that's the 5 in the game for Sacramento. 5 on the clock. Count that one. Outlaw's got his second basket of the night.
Well, another uncontested 3 there. They've got to make some kind of an adjustment. I mean, they're giving up way too many open 3s.
Well, the last 5 hoops, 3 have come off wide open 3-pointers, Clark. So it's one thing to give up 1, but you start giving 3-pointers up in bunches, you're in big trouble.
You don't need much range to hit from that distance, Kevin.
Major front court overhaul for Utah last season with Carlos Boozer leaving for Chicago as a free agent. Okur was injured most of the year. So it was up to Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap to really come through on the front line.
Back to what you said, Steve, about the Jazz. They do have a lot of guys up front that can score. Clark, you played on the front line in the NBA. You know how important that is, and you probably have an appreciation for these guys that the Jazz have up front.
No question, Kevin. I mean, Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap, and then if Mehmet Okur can get healthy, he gives them a dimension with his ability to stretch the defense outside, shooting the ball. And then on the bench, they've even got some guys that put the ball in the basket pretty well.
Crafty move. And once again, off the mark by Sacramento.
This is a nice lead they've built. Very good job controlling the glass this game.
You've got to be pleased as a coach to see how your team has boxed out. Very fundamentally sound basketball.
The shot no good. And the Kings the other way.
6'11", DeMarcus Cousins, got that great wingspan, good feel for the game. He's just got a ton of potential. Now it's just a matter of refining his game and understanding what his role is out there.
Keeping him from hitting people.
His stats, just amazing.
Well, he's monogrammed this game in a big way.
That drops. 12 points for him. Here's Thornton. He has 7. And for DeMarcus Cousins, you can see the potential, Steve. And actually, the stat guys will tell you, this is all numbers, of course, but he's already a very good post defender. Even Clark with his high foul rate.
Yeah, his size is a major deterrent when he's down in the post. Now it's about effort, and then again, being alert and aware and anticipating where you need to be at the defensive end. I really think he's got a chance.
Defensive foul.
Cool. Like.
That's his 4th personal foul.
34 seconds left in the third. Salmons. And some very quick points for him on that possession. Here's Harris. Right now averaging 11 points a game. Pass to Millsap. Back to Harris. And there's the pass to Howard. Clock at 6. Here's Dimes, expanding his range. Fredette grabs the miss.
Yeah, again, iffy shot selection there. Defender draped all over him.
Well, you got to understand who's guarding you in that situation. I mean, if he's on you tight, you can't just rise up and try to shoot over the top.
And offensively, a great show for the fans through the first 3 quarters. It's been a fun game to watch. And we'll be right back here shortly from Sacramento.
Tune in this Thursday. Andre Iguodala and the Philadelphia 76ers take on...
Now let's check in with Doris Burke for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
And Kevin, for the Jazz, the game's Sprite Spark has been the work off the bench from their center. He didn't start the game on the floor, but the way he stepped up and made an impact, you have to think he'll be on it when this thing ends. We'll see if that's the case, guys.
Wonderful stuff, Doris. Thank you. What a game it's been for him up to this point, Clark.
Kevin, he has been absolutely outstanding. I mean, we may not have been expecting him to play this kind of role, but he certainly has put his impact on this game.
Yeah, he sure has, Clark. A huge factor off the bench.
And Utah looking at who they've got to start the 4th quarter. Dimes, he's in at center. Andre Kirilenko and Paul Millsap are the 3 and the 4.
Okay.
Alec Burks is out there with Devin Harris. Thornton against Harris.
I don't want to give him too much space because I know he can shoot a little bit.
The rebound by the Jazz. Clark, this is the first they're seeing of Sacramento.
Well, they took the season series from this club a year ago, but then again, almost everybody did.
Here's Harris, and it's rejected. The Kings trail by 8. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. Clark, let's be honest here. I doubt either team is shooting for the playoffs.
Well, Kevin, I'm always honest. That's the only way that I roll.
You
Might say they are, but sometimes you need reality check. That said, we've seen amazing turnarounds in the past. It could happen with one of these guys.
Here's what Sacramento's going with right now. Jackson, he's checked in for Hickson. And it's Salmons in for Marcus Thornton. And the Jazz also making a change. Al Jefferson's checked in for Paul Millsap. Here's Dimes. The Jazz again can't hit it. And here are the Kings now. Here in the 4th quarter, their defense has been very strong, allowing no baskets. Here's Harris.
I'm forcing again.
Kicks it to Burks. Jefferson on top. Cousins is there. Jefferson dishes to Harris. Here's Dimes. Shoots a fader. Another miss by Utah.
Unnecessary to go to the fadeaway there. It wasn't needed. Could have just kept it simple and taken the easy shot.
And it's Evans missing. Jazz leading by 4. Inside to Jefferson. Puts it up. It's blocked. And they're on the break. Here's Evans. Here.
Oh! Tell you what, guys, you got to appreciate the way
How's that my fault?
those offensive rebounds. It's something to watch.
And the strength, Steve, the strength he is on those putbacks is something to see.
Well, and we got to witness both of those attributes right there on that play.
Here's Dimes. Harris outside. Now, here's Burks. Salmon's covering. Another miss by Utah.
Well, he had to fade away there. The defense was all over him, and he got it off, just couldn't get it to go.
Evans kicks to Salmons. Puts the lead pass in front of him. Jackson. And the Kings check on 2 more.
They continue to barrel their way inside. And when's the defense going to adjust?
Well,
Am I getting benched? Oh, if I hit one of those shots.
And Clark, you know, it was quite a...
Tough loss tonight. You might even say the team took a collective punch to the stomach giving that one up. What are you thinking after losing a game that many people would say you should have won?
I'm thinking we blew it. No need to elaborate. That's all there is to it. We blew it. Hopefully that's enough for your story, because I got nothing more to say. I'm out.
Okay. Perfect.
The crowd is assembled at the Rose Garden looking for a Blazers victory here in Portland, and we've got all the action for you on 2K Sports. The Jazz in the midst of a road trip going into this one. They are still putting the pieces together right now with just 1 win in their first 5 games so far.
Well, I think for Utah, they've been as flat as they can be this season. It might be time, not just for some lineup changes, but a major overhaul.
Yeah, you might be right, Clark, because you can see that there's no spark to this club. Nothing seems to be clicking. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some big changes.
The starters for the Utah Jazz, Andre Kirilenko and Paul Millsap are the 3 and the 4. Alec Burks is out there with Devin Harris. And for Portland, Aldridge and Camby up front. Felton is out there with Crawford. And it's Batum in at the 3.
Well, guys, when you look at the overall record for the Trailblazers, I mean, 30 and 22 against the West, about what you'd expect for a team that got 48 wins.
Shot's good. Here's Crawford. Dimes in the starting lineup for the very first time in the NBA.
Well, he's already shown he has a great work ethic, and that's key because he's trying to develop into an everyday player out there.
And Steve, with that work ethic, there's no reason to think that won't happen.
Aldridge, no luck. But you know, when you look at the Blazers' record against the West the season before last season, they had as many wins against the West as any team in the NBA.
Now, these things vary from year to year, but I think the key for Portland is playoff success. I mean, they have not won a playoff series in about a decade, so they've got to translate their play from the regular season into the postseason.
Excuse me.
And try to knock off one of these Western foes in the first round.
A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, I had a chance to catch up with Nate McMillan.
What about him out?
He has a team prep for the shot blockers their opponents feature and has a countermeasure for it. He said we're going to turn things around on them, getting them up in the air with pump fakes, creating some contact, and get them in foul trouble. Let's see if they're successful.
Thanks for getting back to us on that report, Doris. Guys?
You know, it's really important not to be afraid of the defense over there. I mean, you can't be playing in a fearful fashion. You just got to pick your spots and execute.
Yeah, and be aggressive. You know, you're right, Clark. You can't be intimidated by the speed and strength of this defense. You got to have confidence and take your shots when they're there and attack the lanes when you got an opportunity.
And here are the Trailblazers following the bucket by the Jazz. Clock is at 3. Here's Felton. It goes down off the front of the rim. Felton's got his second bucket of the game to go.
I really like what Raymond Felton has done the last couple of seasons, guys. He's improved in almost every statistical category, and he's a good leader, too.
Ooh.
Boom! And nobody getting in the way.
Not at all. Major throwdown there. Boy, how about the touch on that pass? Lobbed it up there nice and soft, feathery.
Yeah, looked like it made Steve for a pretty easy catch.
Well, the pass may have been soft, but the dunk was anything but.
Aldridge against Millsap. He dishes it to Crawford. They're working it around. Here's Camby. Battles through traffic and lays it in. Camby's got his first points of the night. Here's Harris. And the rejection by Camby. Portland trailing here. This their first chance this season playing the Jazz.
Well, last year it was a pretty predictable result when these two teams met.
Aldridge dishes to Felton. Pass to Crawford. Guarded by Harris. Hangs. And they turn over the 24-second buzzer, signaling the shot clock violation. Here we are in November. Let's see how things are shaking out in the West early in the season. Look at the Trailblazers. Here is Bell. And a moment now to reset the lineups, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up for the second quarter of basketball. On the court for the Trailblazers, Batum is out there with Oden. Then it's Matthews. Then there's Felton. And it's Smith in at the 2. Here's Felton. Smith outside. Back to Felton.
This was before Dame. Wow.
Left side, Batum. The 10-footer. Here's Oden. And he makes good on the layup. Oden's got the first points up on the board here in the second quarter for the Trailblazers. Here's Dimes, defended by Batum. Matthews, grabbed.
I need a fadeaway.
Here are the Trailblazers. They trail by 1.
Well, the Jazz went through a
Green
difficult
hearted.
season a year ago, partly because of the trade of Darren Williams, but also because they play in a very difficult division, the Northwest, with Oklahoma City, Denver, and Portland. Those are all tough opponents.
That misses, so no good on his first attempt of the night. Here is Bell. Now Favors. And here's Bell. 6 on the shot clock. It's 1-on-1. Smith the pass to Matthews. And unable there to get the go-ahead bucket. Talking about what Steve was mentioning about divisional play, they were only 7-9. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't great.
Yeah, and you think about it, the bad news for the Jazz is that those other teams are young and only going to get better. I mean, the Northwest will be a tough place to play for the Jazz for the next few years.
Left side, Batum fires the three. They grab their own miss. There's the block. Out of bounds. And they retain possession for the Trailblazers. Marcus Camby. He's checked in for Oden. Aldridge comes in for Wesley Matthews. And it's Crawford in for Smith. Then for the Jazz, Andre Kirilenko is checked in for Okur. Burks comes in for Josh Howard. And Devin Harris is subbed in for Raja Bell. Here's Batum. You saw him with 10 points last game. Now, here's Felton. On the wing, Jamal Crawford. Here's the three. Portland again missing.
You know, as we look at the Blazers, check them out. I mean, a small market team, tremendous fan support. They're the only game in town as far as a major sports team is concerned. And
that was a bad shot.
Has not been shy or bashful about trying to spin and being willing to spin to make them a contender.
Aldridge a screen. Now here's Crawford. He's covered closely. Just 5 on the clock. Shoots over Burks. Crawford's shot is good. Crawford's got his second basket of the night. Clark, as you said, going back to the Blazers, small market team, big city pocketbooks. And Steve, now also a pretty new front office. They're going to another general manager this year.
Why can't I slam that?
Continues to be innovative and aggressive.
I probably need to raise my dunk rating.
We know they've got plenty of money with Paul Allen at the helm, but can they put forth a consistent plan, and can they stay healthy with the players on their roster? Those are the questions I have.
Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. It's going to go on Alec Burks.
You know, Raymond Felton the last 2 seasons has really improved his shooting nicely. I mean, both from the outside and finishing around the basket. He can penetrate, so that all helps.
Free throw good. "15 seconds left to play in the first half. Aldridge backing in. Takes it up. Abbott. Got it off in time, but it's no good. And the first half is now in the books.
Welcome to the HB halftime report.
I shoot a 3?
Out at Target Center, the Timberwolves.
Probably not.
The third quarter now beginning. Both sides looking to pull away
No,
in
I
the
have
last
not.
half of the game. Tipping off the second half. Here's Tyrone Corbin's 5. Dimes in at center. Andre Kirilenko and Paul Millsap are the 3 and the 4. Alec Burks is out there with Devin Harris. Out of bounds. And they'll keep possession. Here's a look at what's coming up for the Utah Jazz. They can look forward to the Oracle Arena after this game to match up against Golden State. That'll be the last game of their very short 3-game road tour. Poked away, and that one's good by Aldridge. Aldridge has got his team on the board first here in the second half for the Trailblazers. Jazz trail by 8. Harris outside. He feeds it to Burks, guarded by Crawford. Burks kicks to Millsap. Finds himself wide open.
Alright, alright.
He will eat you alive unless you play him tougher defensively.
Guys, the Jazz weren't terrible on the road last season. I mean, they didn't hit the 500 mark, but I don't know if that was really the source of their problem.
Outside, Felton. It's
Sorry.
Crawford on the wing. In low to Canby. Gathers. Gets to the rim for two with the D all over him. Canby's got 6. Well, one thing about the Jazz in the road, Clark, they fouled so much last year, they wouldn't get the same calls as the away team.
Yeah, they fouled a lot. They were right up there near the top of the league. And when you do that on the road, when you foul and you're sending the home team to the line, that allows that team to get back defensively on every possession. That's a tough way to win. They've got to
All right,
get
that
back
works.
defensively this year.
Bounces a stop.
That'll be a backcourt violation. Here's Harris, looking for his first bucket of the game. Coach is liking Clark what he's seeing from his offense.
And shoot, why wouldn't he? I mean, guys, they're filling it up with ease, executing, getting quality shots. I mean, this is fun to watch.
Yeah, this is like a clinic out there, guys. This is exactly how you attack a defense. Move the ball, sharp cuts, really a nice pace to their offense.
Shot clock at 2. Charity stripe shot. Harris missing again.
Devin Harris, Kevin, was an all-star with the Nets back in 2009, but injuries have held him back recently. He played 71 games last season, and that was the most he played in 4 seasons.
Felton dishes to Canby. Aldridge pushes up, and there's Canby. That's good on the assist by Aldridge. And it's a 10-point Trailblazer lead. And going back to Devin Harris, Clark, considered a scoring point guard, which is often kind of a backhanded compliment. He did set a career high in assists last year, Steve. Over 7 a game.
Yeah, and you know, when he was in New Jersey, he really didn't have a whole lot of help offensively. So we'll see how he can develop in Utah. They've always played a pretty specific system that involves everybody. And I think Devin Harris will have a chance to really blend in well there with the Jazz.
Here's Aldridge. Rebound, Utah. Outplayed in the previous game on their schedule, losing to Sacramento.
How about their free throw shooting in that game, guys? They just gave away so many easy points. Tough to win when you do that.
Well, it's hard to call them free throws if you can't make them. I mean, they
Yeah.
were very
He's right.
at the line, and when that happens, it's going to impact the game.
So timeout called here, the first for Portland.
You know, one of the biggest question marks for Alec Burks is his outside shot. I mean, 29% from distance last season. Shooting guards need to be able to shoot the ball better than that.
Wesley Matthews checked in for Nicholas Batum. And the Jazz also making a change. Jefferson's checked in. From deep, and no good trying to get that one. Fell through 3/4 of play. And now let's send it to our sideline reporter Doris Burke for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, it's the Trailblazers picking up the Sprite Spark for the stretch they put together. From the get-go, they put their stamp on this one with their defensive intensity, and that's a big reason why they're up in this one. Coach has got to be pleased with their effort in that department.
Thanks, Doris. Clark, it was a scoring run that proved extremely important.
Yeah, Kevin, you know what? I think that's exactly
A bucket tonight.
when they grab this one by the throat, really seized control of it.
And you could see their energy just building as the game went on. And by the end of that run, they really took control of everything.
Batum is out there with Elliott Williams. That's Canby, and it's Smith, and it's Johnson in at the point. That's the group on the floor for Portland. Outside for Batum for 3. That's in there. Johnson with the assist. And the Trailblazers lead by 11.
And great second
Excuse
half
me.
from long range for this team.
Just scorching those nets, aren't they? Everything's wet. My goodness.
Times. Again, the Jazz score. Here's Johnson.
We're within 9 now. This is easy. This is easily winnable.
Johnson left side. Batum with the 3. And it's Miles with the rebound. Jazz trail by 9. Bell with it. The feed now to Miles. Here is Bell, and the pass to Favors. 5 on the clock. Here's Dimes. It's hauled in by the
I bricked
Trailblazers.
it.
Camby's got his 5th rebound right now in the game. They put up a nice win against Detroit the last time out.
Despite the fact that they shot so poorly, they were able to come up with the win. That was an impressive performance.
Not only shooting the ball, Steve, it wasn't a good game for them in a bunch of other areas as well. I mean, you got to give them credit, though. Even when they weren't at their best, they still found a way to pull it out.
Here's Dimes. Camby covering. Gets it to go.
All right, finally.
Here's Johnson. Time called here. The Blazers decide to talk it over. Find out what Norris Burke has for us.
During that break, Coach Nate McMillan had some words for his team. He was highly animated when he was talking to them, telling them this is going to be a huge win for us. When we
Ooh.
close this out, it will go a long way towards showing the rest of the league what we're capable of.
Thanks, Doris. Catching up on the changes for Portland. LaMarcus Aldridge is checked in for Elliott Williams. Crawford comes in for Smith. And it's Felton in for Armand Johnson. Outside, Felton. Aldridge with a screen on Harris. Jumps up. Goes back up. In deep. Aldridge drops it in. And the Trailblazers lead by 9.
I think the lead they built here, guys, is in large part due to what they've done on the boards.
Absolutely. I mean, they have a plus 10 advantage in rebounds, and they've been in total control of the backboard.
And it goes out of bounds following the shot.
Okay.
Here's Crawford. Dishes to Felton.
This 3-hour game, I think.
Guarded by Harris. Nice fake, but the layup off the mark.
He hasn't been one of their key guys tonight, but they are still winning despite his lack of production.
And it's off target. Not sure why he took that one.
And you wonder about that shot selection. I'm sure the coaches are not thrilled with that one.
Crawford outside. Clock at 6. Batum for 3. That's good, and so Felton has the assist there. Batum's got 6 in the quarter. Jazz trail by 12. Great offensive performance they're putting on.
You see the benefit of knocking down baskets consecutively because it leads to the confidence growing and growing, doesn't it, Steve?
It sure does, and now it's to the point where they just feel unstoppable.
And the basket by Harris.
Well, he's getting it warmed up now after that cold first half.
Here's Felton. 1:04 left here in the fourth quarter. Aldridge backing in. Over Millsap, on the mark from 16 feet out.
This is a fantastic performance in this half. He didn't play as well in the first, but you just know with this guy, he's always ready to turn it around.
Harris up top. He's covered by Felton. Shoots a fader. Out to Harris. Now Felton defending. Shoots a 3. They get it back. Tries yet again. Tries again. And a foul on the shot.
Okay.
Go to the stripe for 2. And the first one drops. And so he makes both from the line. Here's Crawford. 19 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Alright, chat. Thanks for coming.